says 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at Sorry@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is a community option. $1 at the gate gets you in a Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/VinandSori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy merch.
Buy merch indeed, a child shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Yes, dear
Merry
listener.
Christmas,
yes, dear
everyone.
Dear listener.
Hope you guys had a good time. It's a sort of troubling time of the year for some people, so I hope that you guys were good.
Yeah, inshallah, you guys had a good Christmas. I think I did. I cleaned up pretty good. For Christmas. So.
Yeah, you did. You made out like a bandit.
And in typical Vin fashion, I started a debate, but it was a very fruitful debate between my man Applejack and my other man Perkinoth, 2 of my favorite Homo sapiens on the planet.
Oh, you guys had an argument?
Well, it wasn't really an argument. It was an exchange of ideas and facts and information.
Yeah,
we were all better men because of it. Okay.
I gotta restart my computer. I can't get this thumbnail. It's just...
Okay, that's completely fine. That's
not
completely
gonna work.
okay. That's completely
It's just,
okay.
you know when the computer goes so slow and it's like...
It's just not meant to be sometimes.
It's just not.
Okay, so this is, as you guys can see...
Yeah, so tonight we've got Metlcat up on the docket.
On the docket.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're watching too many legal thrillers here. It's a docket now. Okay, go for it. We got a bunch of stuff on the docket.
We do. Unfortunately, I can't tell you anything about it because my...
You don't need to. We have trouble here.
Vinny's going to hook us up.
Okay, so the first song is by a band named Zhrine. I assumed it was Shrine, but it's actually Zhrine, dear listener. And the name of the song is Utopian Warfare. Utopian Warfare, which is obviously a very interesting thing. Mr. Metlcat has 4 songs. At least 4. He's got more than that, doesn't he? Doesn't he usually have...
No, he does the 4. Because what... So we have a couple different ways that you can do that. You can do your live streams by going through PayPal for that. Or you can jump on Patreon. And Metlcat has been with us for a long time doing songs.
Yes,
and so before we did the streams, he was just getting his individual songs. Thanks, honey. But now that we have the stream section, he just goes on Patreon and I'm not sure if this is hot. It feels kind of cool.
That's okay. Bye, buddy. Love you.
He loves saying hi to the people. That's what he wants to do. But I love you too. Okay, so he just stays on the 125 tier or the 75 if you've been with us long enough that it's 75 instead for a song. He just stays on that tier until 4 months passes and then he has a self-stream. So that's how he gets that done. So you're welcome to do that too if you're like, I can't buy a stream straight up. That's insane. That's a way you can get it done month over month instead.
Okay. Song number 1, song numero uno, is from a band called Zhrine, and the name of the song is I forgot the name of the song.
I wish I could Freaking get up there.
I have it right here. The name of the song is Utopian Warfare. Utopian Warfare. Here we go. Zhrine, Metlcat, Utopian Warfare. Clarissa had a shot. Let's go. What to say? Where did we go? Sure. Yo! Shout out to black metal.
Song. Yeah.
Shout out to black metal.
I don't usually like. You guys know I'm not a giant fan of black metal, but that one it like tricked you because it started out the way that it started out and carried on in such a way that you were like, this is good. There's just nothing that can be said. Really doesn't matter what they do from here on out because this is so good. And then the vocal style started. Not a giant fan of that, but I did think that it mixed well with the beauty of the music, the beauty of the instruments, and then the vocal style coming in and stuff. So yeah, what about you? What did you think? Chaga, you guys.
I like band. Well, number one, this kind of band or this kind of song is the reason I love that we do our system the way that we do it.
Right.
Because this band, they like clearly made a decision. Like, okay, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna start off like this, and you have to make that investment in a song or in a band to like let it develop that point before it gets to the point. I was thinking about like Blind, like the song Blind, and the build up to that song, like like now it's like at the popular level, like we're not even patient enough to for a song like that to get as mainstream popular as it did now, because we have no patience whatsoever. Like you're on Twitter, it's 120 whatever characters, like TikTok, like it's just we don't have the attention span for it. So bands that like are gonna try to let the thing gestate, obviously a band like Metallica I think can get away with a little bit of a complex or longer kind of intros.
Who?
But Metallica I think still can, but like I don't know.
Yeah, because their fans expect a certain thing from them, so there's this understanding that it's
Right.
going to go somewhere. But I do think that it's risky for an artist to start out slow like that. I mean, there's a lot of times where, there's sometimes where I'll give music like a good. When we're in the channel, we listen to it start to finish. When I'm by myself, hell no. I start the song, and within 15 seconds, I decide whether or not I'm finishing that song.
Yeah, it's funny because my friend, he was like, Korn, why you keep talking about Korn, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, you wouldn't understand, blah, blah, blah. He's like, try me. And it was Follow the Leader. And the first
This is
song.
back in high school, or is this
Yeah,
recent?
this is the first song on Follow the Leader is It's On, but it starts off with. It's like a lot of feedback, and it's just really cool the way that they did it.
So it's one that captures you at the beginning?
It's immediate. Like
Yeah.
he basically said like, if it didn't catch me in the first 15 seconds, like that was it. Like I was gonna, and like this was like
Your own friend?
I remember because I was the only one. I mean, it was the Bronx, New York. I was sitting there rocking a Korn shirt. I'm wearing nail polish.
Right.
People like, yo, what is going on with this dude? And so he's like, all right, I'll listen to it. You're like, he's like obviously one of the truest friends I ever had. He's like, all right, I'm gonna listen to it. But I was already preparing for him to like mock it, make fun of it. We didn't have cell phones at the time. We didn't call each other, that type of thing. Mm-hmm. And I just said to him, I remember saying like, yeah, man, I'll let you listen to it. You know what I'm saying? But bring it back. Make sure it's, because by that time I was listening to Issues, because Issues had just come out. So I was like, yeah, whatever. And then he came back. He was like, yo! He's like, yo, this is like the craziest blah. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe
so
it.
happy.
I was just watching him. I thought he was making fun of me at first. I was like, yeah, just give me it back. He's like, yo, let me hold it for another day. I didn't get to record it, blah, blah, blah. It took me a while, and then I'm like, yo, he's really into that shit. Then he got himself a trench coat. We get the trench coat mafia, whole nine.
That's it.
That was it. It was like a conversion. It was a religious conversion.
Well, I mean, it's fun to have some people that love the same music as you. I mean, that's why people come onto our channel and hang out with us, is because a lot of people
100%
metal is their thing, and
100%.
it's hard to find a lot of people like maybe locally that are into the scene with you. So,
and it was impossible at the time where I was, Bronx, New York. It was just absolutely impossible.
And I'm sure that it was even more. I mean, were you the only black jelly bean when you were in that situation? I mean, it must have been pretty rare.
Yeah,
at that time period.
It was just us. It was just us at the time.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Lyrics were a little dark.
Dried up. Yeah. So the name of the title of the song was something Utopia, which Utopian Warfare. Utopian Warfare. So that was the title of the song, which is kind of like a oxymoron, because like utopia is like the pinnacle of human existence, like the best possible future you can imagine is a utopia. So obviously the concept of warfare in the midst of a utopia is kind of like a it's an oxymoronic thought process, which it's supposed to strike you that way. But if you look at the lyrics, dried up black oceans, endless waves of blood-soaked sand, where all the roots are dead and only death keeps on growing.
I know.
In the
I thought
midst
that line
of a
was
cancerous
like...
kingdom, in the mist, a cancerous kingdom spreads its leeches. So, obviously, I'm assuming this is like off of a concept record, maybe the first song on a concept record. Do you see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like it's kind of like a prologue to a story. But if you combine this with the title, Utopian Warfare, it's kind of like you would assume that this once beautiful sort of Edenic type thing was destroyed by, once again, human beings not being able to figure out and get along with each other. Mm-hmm. So you got dried up black oceans, endless waves of blood-soaked sand.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like this... It sounds like the disaster already happened. But you know how, like, when we talk... Okay, so the idea of utopia is this perfect environment that's been created. But this is talking about, like, it sounds like it's at the end of something.
Well, yeah, it's the end of the utopia. The utopia was destroyed because of the warfare. Because
Okay.
the name of the title is Utopian Warfare is the title of the song.
But then it says, in the midst of a cancerous kingdom... spreads its leeches.
Well,
so that means there's still something that's still growing. It's a kingdom.
Well, it looks like the bad guys won, basically. In the mist, a cancerous kingdom spreads its leeches. Mm-hmm. So it looks like the bad guys won, basically.
Yeah,
So they
exactly.
they
destroyed the utopia.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I got from it too.
Which obviously, if you were the bad guy team on that team, would you know that you're on the bad team? That's a question that's like really, I don't know if Hans is probably too dramatic of a word, but when I listen to like Americans talk, and when I listen to Americans talk about the world or things like that or history, there doesn't seem to be a sense that people 100 years from now would look at the average American citizen in the same way that people now look at the average German citizen in the 30s. Or the way that we look at the average, Southern American person during the antebellum period. Like, so my thing is like a cancerous kingdom spreads its leeches. Like, that's an interesting concept too about like a cancer. A cancer is sort of like this rogue group of cells that then go and take everything over. And it's like, you would actually be able to live. Like, if you think about cancer at a metaphysical level, like, if you could reason with cancer, you'd be like, listen, you would actually...
Stay over there. Let me know.
You'd actually be able to live longer on this organism if you adjusted your diet a little bit. Or if you adjusted your territory, like, if you didn't need to take over the entire lung...
Oh my gosh, what a weird thought.
Yeah, like, if you didn't need it, you don't need to take over this entire lung, bro. Like, if you just stay right here... you guys will be fine. And you'll actually be able to subsist on this organism for a lot longer.
True, but doesn't cancer multiply?
Well, it does.
In which
That's
case
what I'm saying. Like,
stay on the little dot.
What I'm saying is, like, if you could reason with that initial group of cells and say, hey, if
Don't
you
have too
guys
many
stay put and just chill here, you'll be okay. But the desire to consume and conquer that lung with more people like itself...
This is such a gross conversation.
Right? Like... And so, like, it's a real, Bernardo Kastrup, like, one of his arguments for his ideology is that if you look at a brain stem, like the design of a brain stem, and then you look at the universe, like, they're very similar.
I agree.
Phenomenologically, they look very similar.
Wait, are you talking about the little looking things that are inside brain activity? And then you
like
look at other things out.
Neural trees and things like that nature. Like, if you took like a a 70,000 foot view of the universe,
you're going to see that.
It's a similar design.
Yes, and you're also going to see that if you look deep into the universe.
Right.
So if you look deep into like the way that the mushrooms are spread underneath the ground, and
if you see
that.
Right. That was his art. Like it on the micro level, with these mushroom colonies, and then on the macro level of the universe, because obviously Kastrup's idea is that there's just one mind floating around, and a brain, what you're calling a brain, is just the ripples of what it looks like when that mind is operating. So when that mind is when the mind at large, because in Bernardo Kastrup's mind, there's only one real mind in the world, right? And so when this mind imagines a universe, it's the same process that he's doing as imagining you. So which is why your brain and the universe look similar when you put them side by side, because they're really the same thing in this guy's mindset.
I think whenever I saw it, I always thought, okay, this shows that there's that there's one mind behind it, in that he creates. But then I would come to the point where I'd be like, yeah, but God can make every single snowflake different. Then why did he choose to create the same design in the universe and in the mushrooms? But then I thought to myself, maybe that's because he's trying to create something in such a way that we can follow it and find answers. Well, yeah. Like if he got too if he got too spaced out and not enough patterns, we would be like, everything's just random. I mean, because as patterned as the universe is, people obviously still come to the conclusion that there is no God, and that everything is just by chance. So if it was even more like spread out, less patterns,
that wouldn't do anything.
I'm just saying it would make it more. It would be even more difficult, I guess.
Yeah,
it would be the same either way.
Yeah, it would be the same. Like if you want to disbelieve something, you can make the very reason you're supposed to believe something the reason you disbelieve it.
No, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
It's like all these people, like all these visions of all these sightings of UFOs, and Neil deGrasse Tyson's like, well, we have no proof. And the guy's like, what are you talking about? We have proof. We've got literally thousands of people saying they have eyewitness testimony of this. And he goes, eyewitness testimony is some of the worst kinds of testimonies ever to validate something.
We also have had it recorded.
It's like, what? It's like, yeah, but again, that's eyewitness
this
testimony.
Is your thing.
You have to interpret what you've seen on a recording. Mm-hmm. He's like, oh, we've seen it. So it gets to the point where it's like, unless he's in the fucking spaceship, he's not going to believe that that's the case. And even if you were in the midst of the spaceship, you can explain that away. So belief in something or not believe in something, all of it is based on what we want to believe to be true or not. It's not really based. People want to act like, oh, I empirically looked at the data. Nah, shut the fuck. You know. But like whatever it is here, like you had a utopian existence and then it got ruined by warfare, and the only thing we can look at relative to the warfare aspect of it is that there is a cancerous kingdom spreading its leeches. So obviously, if you have a kingdom, you have a king, and whoever's at the top of that food chain, he or she is a bad person. Like, that's what I've got so far.
That's what we got from this chunk of the album.
It's really fascinating, though. Like, if you think about the correlation between people who destroy the earth, especially in the context of warfare, in the Abrahamic religions are looked upon as bad people. Mm-hmm. It's an odd thing. If you look at old Judaism, you've got laws where it says you have to protect the trees, and then Yahweh says, what did the trees do to you? Mm. So he basically
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it's so funny because every single time I bring up that law,
I always say that?
You always say, I don't remember that. But yeah, it's in the Old Testament, and I always have to look up the passage.
You know what?
It is in the Old Testament. What did the trees ever do for you?
Yeah. You know what I think it is? It so doesn't apply to me, in my opinion. By my own estimation, it doesn't apply to me. But it actually does, because I don't recycle. So, I am wasteful. So it does apply to me. But I've told myself it doesn't apply to me, so I probably don't feel like.
Well, that's what I was saying. Like, it was a law. It was a law in Islamic Sharia.
Thanks. You put this back in the fridge. I want it to get cold again.
See, look. when you besiege a city, see, it says, when it says when you
My fridge,
when you besiege a city. Hold on, let me get this new thing here. When you besiege a city for a long time, making war against it in order to take it, you shall not destroy its trees by wielding an axe against them. You may eat from them, but you shall not cut them down. Are the trees in the field
that's
human
different.
that they should besiege you?
No, I do remember that one. Yeah, they're saying in warfare. No,
Put it in the fridge.
in
Which is
warfare, you shouldn't just destroy all the trees in the
Yeah,
process.
it said, what did the trees do to you?
Yeah.
So, but this was common
I
in
do
the ancient
remember
world. You just destroy everything, right? So in Judaism, and same thing in Sharia, Muhammad says you can't destroy. And Deuteronomy makes a difference between
It's a good fucking
trees
thing
that
they did that.
trees that bear fruit and trees that don't. Right? So he's like, if it's a tree that bear fruit, don't cut it down. If it's a tree that doesn't bear fruit, then you can use it for a siege ramp, which is actually pretty interesting if you think about it. Because you were just going to siege that city, take all the shit, and then bounce. So to cut down the fruit-yielding trees is bad for the survivors left behind. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of the concept. Same thing with same thing in the New Testament. In the Book of Revelation, one of the reasons the bad guys get destroyed is because they destroy the land. Mm-hmm. The time has come to judge the world and to destroy the destroyers of the land, or the destroyers of the earth. Mm-hmm. So it's weird to me that in all three Abrahamic religions, the bad guys are destroyers of the earth. And then you've got people that are saying, hey, we need to take care of the planet. We're destroying the earth. And American evangelicals like, man, fuck that shit. I don't care about the earth. Mm-hmm. And that's something that American evangelicals don't realize. Like, if you get on the plane and you go to the UK, they're worried about taking care of the environment. They call it, creation care, whatever you want to call
Christians over there?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, there's certain things, like, for example, guns, like the way Americans are with their guns. That's unique in the church.
Yeah.
And then this kind of lackadaisical understanding of like taking care of the environment, that is also something where the church is pretty singular. Like, we just generally don't care because, I don't know, people think they're going to get raptured, right? So it's like they're not seeing like, hey, one of the indicators of whether or not you're a bad guy or you're on the wrong team is if you're doing something to like systematically destroy the environment. Like, there's a difference between exercising dominion over the environment versus just completely wrecking and destroying it.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And so, like, it's mind-boggling to me that it's very popular in evangelical Christianity to just, like, not care about the environment. Mm-hmm. And, warfare is a toxicant in the environment. Like, what warfare does, especially like post-industrial revolution warfare does to the environment, is crazy. But anyway, that's a losing battle, obviously.
Between that and the hair bands.
Yeah, I guess. What'd you give the song?
Ooh, that's a good question. I'm going to give it a 9.1. 9.1.
A 9.1. I give this one a solid 9. This song is getting a solid 9. Yeah.
I just couldn't separate the way that I felt at the beginning of the song from it, so I had to give it that extra.
I see. The day has just begun, dear listener. We're coming back to you with another banger very, very soon after this commercial break. Vin out.
Sorry out.
Gone. We shall return. I'm Vin.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at insori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
Rubbish. That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed. A child shall lead them.
Buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. We have an interesting band for you.
Yes, can you pronounce that? Obsequiae.
I thought it was obsequious.
Yeah, that sounds better.
Obsequiae. So I'm just going to pronounce it as Obsequiae.
I think it's better when you read the band names because it just sounds so much more poetic. Mine always sounds
how were you gonna pronounce it? What were you gonna say?
I think I said Obsequiae. It just doesn't.
Obsequiae.
It doesn't even sound good. Like,
oh my god.
When you read them, even though you're reading it fast, like it comes out sounding poetic. So let's just go with yours, so I don't dishonor the band.
Okay.
All right. The song is called
Autumnal Pyre. Good night. We are doomed.
Okay, so apparently Metlcat, well, the last live stream that he did with us was not black metal songs. He was kind of jumping out there. So now, when he sent me the last song, which was at the beginning of the 4 months, he said, "That's it. I'm sticking to black metal for my next stream." So now we're gonna see if you really stuck to your word for 4 months or not.
All right,
let's go.
Here we go. This is I was checking the comment section to see if he commented and gave us any more help as to the title of the band. So I'm just gonna go with Obsequiae. Shout out to Perkinos in the house. Guten Nacht, ja Germany. Okay, or it'd be ja Deutschland, or I don't know how you say O in German. Okay.
Either way.
Salam alaikum. Ja Deutschlandi. It would probably be Deutschlandi in Arabic.
Your guess is really?
All right.
Guess as good as mine. Better than mine.
Obsequiae. Let's do it. Autumnal Pyre. Obsequiae. Or Obsequiae. I feel so powerful in this bitch. Let's go. Just as I was about to get into it.
No. Shh.
I'm displeased.
Oh, well, why didn't they start the song with that?
All right.
Didn't it make you feel like going back in?
They wanted to end the song with that.
Did it make you feel like going back in?
Going back into the
song?
to the forest. It made me go back into the forest.
Yeah. Sure. When
All
I
right. Throw you into the furnace.
The furnace?
Sure. You just recently had somebody pass away. Michelle, absolutely. All right. From my recollection, of course, Perkinos knows. This band is heavily influenced by medieval and Renaissance music. They have a pretty unique sound, in my opinion. I'd like to see the kind of band that Perkinos would
front.
Yeah, and the type of lyrics he would write.
Have you written any songs?
You know that Perkinos is written. He has to have.
Send him our way.
I will not believe any other
I wish
word.
you guys could see this. This is literally the best picture of Vinny on my phone.
Oh my god!
But you can only see his fantastic beard. Look,
nobody cares.
That's the only thing that shows up is your beard.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
Luminous groves in twilight, alit by scarlet fire, lustrous and fleeting firmament, caressing autumnal pyre. I just totally ruined that by reading it so choppily like that.
Autumnal
pyre.
Autumnal pyre. And here it is.
Somebody died?
Yeah, here is the tribute in the native language.
Tears of silver cast.
So it says, God natt, Uncle Madin Ciel, Bligedet til Valhalla. Pavidnien. I'm completely butchering
well,
this,
we heard,
guys.
we saw Skull.
Yeah.
We've seen that word before.
Pavidnien til Valkyrie. Valkyrie Skull. Onkel Ogvi vil se Havender ikin and dog. I completely butchered that, but we wanted to honor our father and mother, as the scripture says. Okay. So, luminous groves in twilight, alit by scarlet fire, lustrous and fleeting firmament, cresting autumnal pyre. These guys are rhyming. These guys American?
I would assume they're not. But you know, when you're reading this, poetry when, you know, after losing somebody or whatever, like when you sit down to like kind of let out what's inside. I don't know. I like poetry in that sense. When my uncle was passing away, he had cancer, and we were all it was not a good time. Just watching him like just kind of fade away as a human being was painful to watch, and it was painful to watch everybody else being broken up over it. Because obviously people are going to be broken up over it, but it's sad to see people hurting when you can't help them. But both the person dying and the other people in the room. But anyway, like I remember when we were all sitting in the hospital room, and everybody was just trying to like kind of cope with the situation. Like he was kind of like, you know, there's that person in the family they're kind of like they're like the main person. They're like the one that kind of everybody kind of looks to, and they basically set the culture of not just like a home, but all the families that are connected. And he was that guy. So he was like the main leader, and he was passing away in the bed, or dying, because, you know. So, but I remember I was sitting there.
For everybody, like, I cannot stand the term "pass away." I cannot stand that.
And I feel weird saying dying because it feels so like abrupt.
It's
and
like,
I feel like we all know what the word passing away means, but it feels.
We ought to be able to face. It's like when people say the N word. It's like, come on, man. Like, we're all grown adults here. Do we really have to do that? Mm-hmm. I understand people like pass away, but to me, pass away is horrible. I can't stand that term. But that's why she was being all weird. But I mean, it's not like a
weird?
law. It's not like a
weird?
law or something like that.
But so anyway, I started writing. I brought my journal with me, and because I knew we were going to be there for a while, and it was such a hard environment. So I started writing in my journal, and I was writing some poetry, and this, I mean, I did not write anywhere near as good as this. I mean, mine was like, you know, Cat in the Hat shit compared to this. But this was really just the way that I don't know, you just kind of felt it.
Yeah. It is an interesting thing about
Tears of Silver Casket. Sorry.
Human beings. Like, on the one hand, death is sort of like, generally speaking, something human beings are universally afraid of, generally speaking, unless they get put in an exigent circumstance where, you know, whatever. But for the most part, human beings are terrified of the concept of death, and will do a lot of things to avoid that kind of eventuality. But it is fascinating to me that we have such elaborate rituals and iconography when it comes to death. You know, like there's I think in Mexico is Dia dos Muertos, where it's like everybody dresses up in skulls and shit. And, and
I don't know if that's what it's called, but I've seen that.
Pretty sure that's the name of and like
where they paint it.
We have graveyards where, you know, there's some places you can drive for miles and just see all these like tombstones. So for a group of people who are terrified of death, we kind of centralize. And you know, maybe that's cultural, because you're talking about a pyre here, and what happens, you do the thing, you launch the thing, and you set them on fire, but I'm sure they had some sort of memorial thing that would be the equivalent of a tombstone or something like that. Like, I understand the ritual itself of the funeral, because people want to, you know, have closure or whatever, although there are family members that, you know, that I've lost, that, you know, they left the world and I never went to their funeral, and I don't feel like I have less closure or more closure. Like, I don't feel like I would have had, because the way that person went out, like, and you know how I am, I'm weird when it comes to this stuff, but to me it's like going to the funeral would not have given me any sort of closure, considering the way this person left the earth. So you know, I don't. So it's a very fascinating thing. Like for people that are terrified of death, I mean, there's some theories that everything we do is to distract us from death, including what we're doing right now, including why we make music and art. Like all of it is designed to distract us from the fact that we're going to die. There's some theories that are like that. But then I'm like, yeah, but we sure as hell go out of our way to memorialize the dead, and we go out of our way to remind ourselves that we're going to die.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, roller coasters, for example, like all the fear connected with the roller coaster is about staring death in the face and finding some way to overcome it, right? That's why we love roller coasters. So it's like, why do we have tombstones that memorialize the dead? And then you kind of say, okay, like, is it a matter of completely forgetting that because the tombstone was like, oh, this person was here on this planet. So is that desire a more deep desire than the desire to forget that we die or whatever? Or maybe collectively we've given up on the idea that we can distract ourselves from it, so instead we decided to look right. It's just very interesting that we create these very fascinating rituals relative to death.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I think that personally people will do things to distract themselves from death, which I think is why that verse says it's better to go to a funeral than it is to go to a party, because essentially at a funeral you're going to have to contend with your own mortality, where at a party it's like, hey, everybody's partying, it's fun, we're going to live forever sort of feel. But I do think that maybe for ourselves we might do stuff to distract ourselves from the inevitable death that will be our end. But at the same time, I don't think that's why we put tombstones for other people. Could be. I just think that the tombstones for other people is, when you recognize that their life has come to an end and you realize, because we're such physicalists, that we put so much of our value in the person's physical body, that when they die and that body just disintegrates, maybe we feel like there has to be something that lives on, because that person is so valuable. There's no way that it can just, and maybe that's kind of why we do the tombstones. I don't know that it's because, yeah, I don't know. I don't think that I think we do the tombstones for other people and for how we feel about other people. As for ourselves,
well, I mean, it's got to be completely for us, right? I mean, most of us don't believe that the other person's going to see their tombstone.
No, but you do it in honor of them.
Yeah, that's for you, though. You're conscious of your honoring of them. That you don't believe that the tombstone makes it go, oh, this person, in the afterlife now feels honored because there's a tombstone in a random
I'm not going to lie. I do feel like, I've always felt like that the person that dies can see what's going on. I do think that if the person is in the next realm, that they would be the tombstone is not as big of a deal as what you're making it. It's not the value of it, what we think it is and what it actually is probably very vastly different. But I guess I just cannot comprehend somebody that's in another dimension experiencing whatever it is they're experiencing and being they put
caring about
a tombstone.
Do I have a random tombstone in a random field somewhere?
No, I don't think that it's about the random tombstone. I think that it's what the tombstone communicates. So I think if somebody was
what I'm saying is what
guy,
that tombstone communicates is for the living. It's not for the dead. None of the rituals.
But like I said, I've always felt like that the dead can see it.
None of the rituals that, and I'm looking at this, maybe it's because I have a biblical assumption, but none of those rituals have any bearing on the dead. Those are for the living. All of our funeral rituals and things like that are for us. It's not for the dead person. None of us are thinking oh, this person on the other side has got to have this block of stone in this random field.
Yeah, it's not the coins that they would put on the eyes where they said you need these to cross over. We don't believe that. So
that's what I'm saying. All this shit is for the living. So
yeah.
So what I'm saying is,
in honor of the dead before the living.
What does that do for us? And then whatever that does for us, it's got to be obviously more powerful than our desire to look away from death. Because although I don't believe that we do everything as a means of distracting us from death, I do definitely believe, though, especially Western people, that we do a lot of things to get away from the fact that we're going to die. I think the obsession with plastic surgery, the worship of youth, I think all those things are there to, distract us from our fear of death. So, like, it's just odd to me that we have all these monuments toward death.
I think you're right, because
the entire time.
The entire world, everybody is going to die, but not every culture does what ours does. Or are you saying specifically that's why you think we do it?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There's some cultures that handle death a lot better.
They do something,
But I'm just talking about the general theory of man. It's a very interesting contradiction that on the one hand we do everything we can to avoid death and not even think about it. But at the same time, we have these icons of the dead that we make permanent. That at some points, like, we deify the dead, which is kind of weird. You see it a lot in gang culture. Like, King Von gets an entire mural. If you're really loved it, but like, if you're really loved in the gang culture, they'll name the block after you.
Wow.
So, like, O Block, where Von comes from, was actually, it was originally called Wick City because it was the Wick Gardens or whatever is what they called it. Then this guy named O.D. Perry got killed, so they named the block O Block after that. That's why it was called O Block. Yeah, that's why in that song he said, "This shit right here turn your name into a hood." That's what Duck was saying. Oh. Because Duck came from Tukaville. That's because Tuka got killed, so they named it Tukaville.
Oh my god.
So that's what I'm saying is, like, you have all these constant reminders of death that get hardwired into your culture,
right?
But at the same time, you're scared to death of looking death in the face. But it's one of those things where it's like, I just think that especially the Western mind is completely fascinated by death and terrified at it simultaneously. Mm-hmm. And I think the desire that the tombstone fulfills in the human psychology is that I want to still have some way of being here when I'm gone. Like, we can't imagine the world actually going on without ourselves, and because we're such physicalists, we got to have some sort of physical, the person's still here. It's like, I went to go visit mom. Like, they went to so it's like that thing is a stand-in sort of physicalized way of saying they're still here somehow, because we can't reconcile ourselves to the fact that when we're out of here, we're gone. So we gotta put stuff like, and I'm speaking as a person who's obviously lost significant people, but that's why I remember one time, like, I had just gotten my other job, and me and my ex, we were just laughing around. She didn't know, I said, just throw me in a landfill or something. Like, I don't really care. Like, if if you get some bad call about me or whatever, just chuck me in a landfill. You ain't got to do all that shit. And I was serious about it, and she was like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and to this moment, like, I don't understand it, but.
Mm-hmm. You don't? Could you just throw me in a landfill?
If you died going to your funeral, going to your funeral and doing all this shit that you have to do that, like, I remember doing it with my mom, and my brother actually had to do a lot of the heavy lifting. So, one of those, I like the way the Vikings do it, with the whole
you didn't
Pyre
answer the question.
And the Pyre and all that.
See, because I think that we can say for ourselves, it makes sense to say, why should somebody spend a bunch of money and all that on this funeral, blah, 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 or whatever your reasoning is. Like my aunt, she used to say, look, when I die, just get a flat headstone so nobody has to mow around it. Make it easy for that person. Make it easy for the mower person. And like, I used to think, well, that's a little bit crazy, but at the same time...
Well, it's hard for me to answer because I understand how traditional you are with stuff. So...
I don't care.
So...
Yeah, I am very traditional, but in that sense, I would say just whatever helps everybody else with the closure. You know what I'm saying? But what I was thinking was, for me, do I care what somebody does with me? No, I don't. I just wouldn't want to be like, I wouldn't want to be just like out in the street, just like in the elements. Like, do something. Throw me on the pyre. Do something with me. You know what I mean? Like, I'd like to something, whatever. But I mean,
it is fascinating. Like, I'd be interested in the funerary rituals of primates and things like that. Like, I want to see, like, in the quote natural. It's so funny we have this other distinction. I want to see in the natural world, like, I wonder if primates are have these elegant, you know, rituals. I mean, you have some, you know, like as the Inuit people where they would just leave you behind. Like if you were like holding the group back, they'd say, well, you know, you're 85 years old, you had enough spins around the planet, and they just leave you. And you just die of exposure. And they just keep going. But again, that's dictated to them. That's dictated to them by their environment.
Yeah, yeah.
Like everybody understands, like, yo, that's how this shit's gonna go. So, like, I don't know. I just think it's I don't think there's a right or wrong. You know, like I'm not saying like one group is wrong, one group is right. I just we're a very complex group of people. And it's mind-boggling to me that people really believe. I don't want to come off like the wrong way, but it's just like
that. What?
The idea that there's no God and all of this is just accidental, and we've got these inexplicable bonds with each other, and there's really people out there saying, "Yeah, all that shit just boom, it just clashed together." Like, how the fuck did consciousness come out?
I know
it's mind-boggling to me.
And this. But I agree. I don't understand. Like, I look back at how people used to react to me about believing in God, and people would be like, thinking that like I am some sort of like I'm weird for my belief system, like that I just made this up out of nowhere, and all of a sudden I want to believe in Santa Claus, and I'm an adult. But now that I look at it, I'm like, yeah, but the problem of consciousness, all this physical stuff that you're coming up with, it's just. I mean, the complexities of the universe, and just thinking that it all just an explosion. Some people really believe that's what happened. It's just, there's just too much.
Yeah, I mean, if you say so, I'm not going to say you don't believe it if you say you believe that, but I don't know, man.
I think you have to ask yourself, why do you want to believe that?
Yeah, there's a whole other set of it. But yeah, I just think it is interesting to me that like we have to. We saw another one like yesterday. One of the guys got killed, and the guy liked him, so he was like, "Take it easy. Like you have to honor the body because." And it was like, yeah, you have to honor the body. And if I was there, I'd do the same thing. And it's weird. It's like I've been in this way. It's like, yo, body's right there, and like dude was here like 5 minutes ago. He's not here anymore. And it's like everybody, like people would have like. If you would have done something to that body in that moment, like you would have died.
Yeah.
Like, people would kill you. Like,
yeah.
immediately. Yeah. And the dude is dead.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody knew he was dead. But if anybody would have like done anything, like, like you literally, you would have joined him. Like you would have been off the planet. Like, and that's so crazy to me. That's crazy to me. Like, all right, this guy, like, he's out of the fight. Like, he's not concerned anymore. The dead have seen the end of war, but like. There's still something about it's odd, like the dead body almost becomes more sacred.
Oh, it's because it's what you have left.
Than
the entire person was in their life.
Than the person was in life. Like
that's exactly what happens.
If you spit on a person, like around their friends, like they might jump you or something like that. They'll beat you up. You know what I'm saying? But if the guy's dead, like dead, and you spit on a dead person, you might die. And that's so weird to me. Like how...
Oh, I gotta enter into that thought.
The final... When things are right, the final state of a person, they're actually more sacred than... Like, I remember one time, like, it's crazy, because in Islam, desecrating the dead, no matter how horrible they are, is haram. And I remember, like, talking to a guy, and this dude... was ready to kill, I don't know, about 40, 50 people, including women and children, because they were desecrating his friend's body. Like he would, if they would have greenlit that, he would have absolutely, in his words, killed them all wholesale. And like, I was in the room with this dude. He was dead serious. He would have done that if they would have done that. As a matter of fact, he left a pretty elite group early because he didn't get the green light to go and do that for his friends. Like, he never got over that.
Oh, wow.
He never got over that. So it's like, it's just odd to me, like, death, our fear of death, all that, while simultaneous to that, like, the irony of, like, the sacred nature of a dead body is at some level infinitely less valuable than a living body, but at the same time infinitely more valuable, as in worthy of honor. It's just very,
it is
very,
weird.
very strange. Yeah. And that tells me that we understand that something massively important is going on when you're looking at another human being. You can say what you want.
Right.
You could say it's influence. You could say it's whatever. You could say it's societal preconditioning. You can believe or disbelieve what you want. But I just think that our funerary rituals and the way that we treat the dead tell all of us knows intuitively there is something completely unique happening with human beings that is not the same for everyone else or every other being. So anyway, it's just fascinating to me. The song's a 9.2 for me.
8.9 for me. And now I'm very curious to know okay, when you said primates, I was like pretty sure. I would be curious to know
apes,
what.
chimps, all
I
that
was
shit.
pretty
Like,
sure
what
that's
are their
what
funeral? What are their funerary
What do they do?
rituals?
I would be curious because I saw this video of I don't know, some type of a gorilla or something, and it had a C-section, and then they put it in its cage, but it didn't know it. But its baby had been separated for a couple days because the mother had complications, and so the baby was like wrapped up in a little blanket. And she came in and she was like sitting there and she just looked so sad and like troubled. And then all of a sudden the little, it wasn't a monkey, I guess a gorilla. Little gorilla's hand went from the blanket. And as soon as the little baby hand came up, she looked and she went over super fast. She picked him up. She pulled that blanket off him. She pulled him in. And then her knees were just going like this. And she was just holding him. I said, she must have been so nervous. Because it definitely looked like nerves, and she was trying to eat once she got that little baby in her arms. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, what do they do when one of their significance passes away? They must do something. They probably don't just go on like regular. I mean, these things can
chimps,
sign
when
language.
When a mother chimp loses her child, she carries around her dead child and grooms them for several days or even longer.
That's so sad.
Yeah, but again, like, you're anthropomorphizing that.
I am.
I don't know. They groom, inspect, and protect it. Sometimes allow group members to explore, and rare cases of cannibalism have been reported.
They carry it around and groom it for the...
No significant difference is observed. Yeah, it's probably like, yo, is this thing working? Like, we're imposing on it.
Yeah, but I don't agree with that. Because I saw how my dog reacted to my other dog, and I feel like that a chimp is way smarter than a friggin' dog.
Certain groups of primates, such as Japanese makes and howler monkeys, have been witnessed holding vigils for fallen troop members. These can last up to 5 days. I mean, I don't know. It's very, very fascinating. 9.3 for me.
8.9.
There you are on that very uplifting note. We have more metal coming right your way. Don't touch that dial. I mean, literally, stay around, please. Then out.
Sorry, out.
Go. Yeah, that's fascinating. Fascinating stuff, for sure.
Remember they used to leave the person in their living room?
I don't know. Maybe that's a main thing.
That's not a main thing.
We shall return.
That's in the old movie.
I'm Ben.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at sorry@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is a community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord,
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
and they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/VinandSori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed. A child shall lead them to buy our merch. Yes, dear
buy our
listener. Yes,
merch.
dear listener. Yes, dear listener. We are in the midst of the Metlcat stream. That's Metlcat right there,
here.
dear listener. And this is the stream. This is Sori. This is a giant thing of ale. Actually,
Yes.
it's a giant thing of.
Yes. Chaga. It's actually a type of mushroom that grows on a tree. It's very healthy.
We are all about health at Vin and Sori. So much so that we also have the healthiest baby formula on the market, dear listener.
We do.
You're about to see commercials relative to our baby formula.
Hi.
We have hit the big time. Shout out to Amy Lee Forever, who, by the way, when you guys start seeing the our baby formula commercials, you'll have her to blame for the amazing design.
The badass design of the can.
That's right. That's right. It legitimized our company when we were making our presentations.
Facts.
Okay, guys, here we go. Vin is Simon Cowell. I don't know about that. I think I'm a little nicer than Simon Cowell. Although sometimes Simon, he feels bad for the people. All right, here we go. Song number 3. This is your.
Okay, up next on our Metlcat stream is Varathron song, The River of My Souls, which is really interesting. I don't know if that was a typo, but it says souls. That could strike up some interesting conversation.
I didn't give you credit for the commercial, boss. I gave you credit for the design, the designa. That's how you spell design.
We're talking about the design of the can, Amy.
Of the can.
He's saying in the commercial, the design will be seen.
You guys are going to see the what does he say? The most amazing. Okay. All right, guys, here we go. Metlcat, Varathron, The River of My Souls.
Let's go.
What are we supposed to say? Let's do this shit. I'm trying to find the lyrics.
Stop looking up primates and their funeral rituals and get it up there.
No, I have it right. I was looking at what Amy was saying. I want to make a commercial. We'll talk later. I have a good idea for the commercial, but it's a little bit risky.
Well, we like risky.
But hey, it's baby formula. It's what people put into their most prized possessions. Don't you want to have a little risk? Maybe we could do like a Saul Goodman type. Are you tired of having the regular old baby formula where your kid is hungry and then he stops crying? Are you tired of never going to the hospital at 3 a.m. because he's vomiting uncontrollably?
Are you tired of unsafe baby formulas?
No, are you tired of safe baby formulas where you know what to expect?
Oh,
live on the wild side! Can you imagine?
Fuji.
We should actually do that though, and like do that to call out the major companies who did all that shit.
I agree.
Yeah, we're small enough to where they're not going to do that cease and desist thing. Plus, they can't do that. So like,
Can't do that.
are you tired of your kid being able to digest your formula quickly? Then we could say, try Similac. You know, if you want a boring life, try Fuji. All right.
So bad.
All right, guys. Here we go. Put the name of the song again. You got the lyrics?
Oh, no. It's this one. The River of My Souls.
The River of My Souls. I'm getting lyrics right now. Let's do it. Whoa, it sounds old school. Metallica. Fade to Black.
Oh, yeah.
Same method.
Yeah, I could hear that.
I'm looking at this conversation between Metlcat and Perk. What band is that, Perk? Are you talking about, was that Rotting Christ? Was that the band you were talking about? The Great Contract or whatever? That was like, that's probably my biggest miss ever all time on this channel.
The interview?
That Rotting Christ interview we had lined up and I completely flubbed on. Ugh.
Well, it's probably not too late. We'll probably get it again.
It's gotta be the biggest downfall.
If you did it once, you could do it again.
The biggest downfall of all time. I felt so bad. I didn't even reach out to him and like to apologize. Oh, it was so hard. Rotting Christ, hear me. Well, you shouldn't have named your band that with your blasphemous ass. Nah, that's just me. That's just me projecting. That's just me on my Charleston White ending. I just feel bad. I feel bad. Shout out to those guys.
Can't win them all.
Yeah, you
we failed. There's no going around it. We failed.
Yeah. That's just a failure.
Thank you. Unholy dream beyond the crucified gods.
What's going on there? What's going on with this guy? What was that face for?
You know, to be honest with you, I did not even look at him because I was moving these things.
We're probably doomed. Okay. Unholy dream beyond the crucified. Okay, so first of all, sonically, this band didn't go enough places for me. Right? Like, it was just kind of monolithic and kind of there, and I understand. But me personally, sonically, I needed the thing to get me a little bit of variation. You know, like, this was almost like a doom metal song to me, to be a little bit honest.
I agree.
It was kind of doomy, kind of sludgy,
Mm-hmm.
and it didn't go anywhere. Now, that could very well be because I'm an undisciplined listener. That's very true. Might be possible. I just got done lamenting the sad state of pop music where everything has to come to you immediately. But dear listener, it wasn't going a lot of different places for me. That's all.
No, I agree. I had the same experience. I felt like it was just kind of trudging along it just felt, how long was the song?
It was a 5-minute song, 5.6 or something like that.
Yeah, so it was like an average length of song, but it kind of felt like it was, just kind of going on. And I was like experiencing like the kind of the slow beat of it, but it wasn't something that like, it didn't capture me in any way. But.
Well, it captured me lyrically. And vocally, I liked what the vocalist was doing as well. I just
did?
Yeah, I like what the vocalist was doing.
Okay, why? What was it about
because
it? Because
I liked what they did with I actually like what they did with the vocal decisions, period, relative to the production on the mix. Like, the way that the voice was actually pretty unique, and I love that. Because they featured the vocals. I'll just pick it up and play it again. But the way that they featured the vocals, it was like because right now I do production on our stuff, right? Like, so it's like, balancing out the music itself. Yeah, it was just really, really cool. I don't know what exact methodology they use, and you probably can't hear it because you're not obsessive about the music stuff, obviously. But anyway,
I think that
I like the vocal part
because they kept the vocal style lower than the actual instruments, or that's what it sounded like to me. I do think that what you just played in that clip, that was good. If they would have put it above and like louder than the music, it would have been altogether just too much. But it wasn't. Again, it's just this song just doesn't move me.
Right, I liked it because it wasn't like a rah Cookie Monster sound. It was like a conversational Cookie Monster sound, but because of the way they emphasized it, it wasn't being completely overrun by the music, which is a very, very difficult. That's a very difficult balance to strike. It really, really is. Okay, so that was like a con for me, but the pros, obviously, for me, vastly outweigh the cons because of the lyric. The lyrical nature of this song is crazy. Unholy dream beyond the crucified gods. Unholy awakening beyond the forgotten memories. So, you've got a dream. So, like, this is almost like a chiastic structure to a degree. Look, you got an unholy dream, then you have an unholy awakening. In the dream, you go to some place beyond the crucified gods, and then the awakening, you go beyond the forgotten memories. So maybe he had some cool esoteric experience, right? That got him away from Christianity. I don't know how many other crucified gods there are. You know, every Christmas there's always like some cool like atheist meme lord that says Horus, born in a cave, born on December 25th, born to a virgin mother, had 12 disciples, was crucified, rose from the dead on the third day. Like, they always do that. Like, they, you know, because they all saw Zeitgeist, which is a movie, like, the entire premise is completely false. That Christianity borrowed from Mithraism and all these other...
So many people were influenced by that.
I know. We had a famous atheist on our show when we were doing that ministry thing, and he brought that up, and I said, "Don't do that. Don't."
Yeah, I remember that.
I shut him down because I didn't want. Because the goal of me having that guy on the thing was like I genuinely wanted it, because at the time we weren't dealing with a lot of atheists. We were dealing with a lot of Muslims. Yeah. But I just didn't want to see, like, where does the worldview come from, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, we had some connections, so we made it happen with a pretty famous guy.
When you're in those conversations, you're generally trying to just, like, I see
the other dude
you avoid some things.
Yeah, I avoided it. The other dude wanted me to, like, cut his throat. Like, we got this big, you know, atheist guy here, cut his throat, man, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I didn't want to be in that mode. I wanted to hear, you know, he's telling me about like telling his parents at the barbecue and all that shit.
I see where he was coming from, and I see where you were coming from.
I wanted to know, like, I wanted to know what no, you were on the other guy's side.
No, I said now I agree with you.
You were both mad at me for not, like, cutting it out. Oh, you left that open, you left that open, you left that open. He said that dumb shit about Horus and all that, and I was like, don't do that, don't. I said, don't say that. I said, don't do that. I said, it's already been debunked, don't do that. Let's go somewhere else. And he goes, really? I'm like, yeah. He goes, oh, okay. And then he went.
Did you guys go back to it after the show was done, or no?
I sent him a message, but he played it on his show, no problem. So, but I had sent him a message. I'm like, this is why, yada yada yada. But the Isis Horus son.
Yeah, I was like, whatever causes the biggest scene. So we got that guy on there. Let's do whatever. But it.
Yeah, like like. It's just so, like, when it says the crucified gods, like, there aren't many gods who were crucified. Like, so it can only, in my view, it could only be talking about Jesus, because like, if you got crucified, that was the end of your, like, a lot of times you're crucified naked, and obviously it meant that you did not have the power to overcome Roman power, and so you know, there's the Aleximanos relief, it's called, and it's basically this picture of a crucified donkey, and then there's this guy worshiping this crucified donkey, and the title of the artwork is Aleximanos worships his God, which basically, look how stupid these Christians are. How could you worship a crucified person? Like, how could you do that? It's to me, the cross as such a powerful symbol that is almost universally looked upon as positive. I mean, crusades accepted, right? Like, if you
for sure.
The cross is and the cruciform pose is, especially in the Western world, it's to me the only way to explain that is the resurrection, because
I agree,
of the shameful, horrific nature of crucifixion. I was watching a History Channel sort of breakdown of crucifixion where it started in Persia, and a lot of people like what's it, Ruth? What is it? Such a Time as This? No, that's
Esther.
That's, you know, it says that they put up so and so on a poll. Like, some people are speculating. Some commentators actually speculate that he was actually crucified. Yeah, because it was in a Persian context, which obviously prefigures Christ.
Who are you talking about? Are you talking about Haman? I thought they hung him.
Haman. Yeah, he was hung from a pole, from a tree. He was hung.
I thought it was... No, the gallows. No, it can't be. They literally said gallows. He created the gallows. What do you mean?
I mean, he was... The Hebrew is that he was hung from a tree. I mean, you were brought up in the KJV, right? All I'm saying...
So wait a minute. It doesn't say gallows. He didn't create
Doesn't
the
say he was
gallows 20
It
feet
said
high
he
or
was
50 feet high or
executed on
whatever.
a tree is how he was executed on a tree.
I thought they had a
Some
conversation
people,
of the
some
gallows.
people are speculating
Yeah.
that he was actually crucified because the Persians actually invented crucifixion. My point is, the transformation of the cross as a symbol of something positive,
Yeah,
of
that's
something,
true.
of
That'd
something
be unexplainable.
that it can, in my view, can only be explained by the resurrection.
Right. What other explanation could there be?
Right.
I mean, we don't even have anything in our culture that puts together the shame, the curse,
Violence.
the violence,
Yeah.
all of that stuff. We don't even have anything comparable in our society, right?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying, and part of it is we're not part of a shame honor culture. So that's the other thing that gets missed. Like, people in the Middle East can understand how fascinating crucifixion is as a positive aspect, whereas people in the West, where you have people voluntarily walking down the street naked, obviously, once you have a culture like that, you no longer are operating in a shame honor culture. I was just watching, Kanye. He was talking about. He said, "Look at her magazine photos. Like when she was with me, when she was with him, the magazine photo was Kim and Kanye and all their kids. And then now she's badass, single woman in her 40s. She's on there by herself with her junk all in the air or whatever. Like, so we're no longer in a shame. America's not. We're not a shame honor culture.
Yeah.
Like, people will kill themselves, and kill other people for the concept of shame and honor in we just don't have it here.
We don't have it here like that, but I think we all understand.
It's not even close in the Middle East.
No, I'm not saying it's close, but I think we can still relate to and understand the difference of when Kim Kardashian goes and she chooses to put her ass up in the air or whatever she's doing. That's different than something that's being forced. Like, if somebody did that to her, that would be different. Like what was done to Christ, like with the nakedness, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that even though we will voluntarily walk down the street, whatever, but still, I think that it's a whole nother category when you're forced.
What I'm saying,
when nakedness is forced, I guess you could say.
I mean, that's always going to be bad. What I'm saying is, the cultural temperature gets set as to how bad that is based on what happens before that. So if you have a culture where it's illegal to wear bikinis, and then all of a sudden you're naked, that's a lot worse than a culture where, well, you can be naked, you cannot be naked.
Right.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, we don't operate that way in the Western world anymore. But in the Eastern world, what I'm saying is they understand the shame aspect, the impossibility of the cross becoming this great, beautiful symbol of sacrifice and things like that. The fact that it originated, that movement originated in the Middle East, and that symbol became that powerful for something positive, had to have been, in an Einsteinian perspective, had to have had an equal or greater corollary to that for that to happen.
Right.
Because that is also something we've never seen in history. We have Martin Luther King Day, but we don't have gun and bullet iconography for that. Same thing, like the British are coming. We celebrate, him, Nathan Hale was the guy's name. The British are coming, right?
Oh, was it?
But yeah, Nathan.
Yeah, I think you might have been right.
That's like one of my favorite stories, and I wasn't even born in this country, subhanallah. But we don't take the gallows that he was hung on as like this beautiful sign of whatever. We talk about him, but we don't. So what's happening with a Christian cross is extremely unique. Same thing with guys getting lynched. You lynched our ancestors, yada, yada, yada. But we don't carry around the symbology of lynch. I mean, Jesus was literally lynched. And on the Roman side, I mean, I've worn iconography where you still have Jesus on the cross, lynched on the cross. Like, that does not happen. The bad guys do that. The bad guys exalt iconography of the hero on the other side in that situation. But the people on your team never do that.
Right. Facts.
The people on your team say they'll transform what happened to. They'll say that Nat Turner died for us or whatever. But you don't use that iconography. If you were on the other side, you'd say, "Oh, but Nat Turner was such a badass. Well, this is where he ended up." Right? So how do you explain this in Christianity? It's like it's not something that I think troubles my unbelieving friend that it should.
What about
it should trouble you?
Like you just said, they would instead be like, "Oh, this is how he died." If you think people will like flip the cross upside down instead of just being like, "Yo, this is how he died," and mock that,
right.
Why flip it upside down?
Right. Because it's so powerful. But how did it get that powerful?
Yeah.
This is singular.
Right. There's no explanation for that.
This is singular in human history.
Yeah.
And I you got to deal with that. Mm-hmm. Like this has never happened before. People go, "Oh, there's religions, Muhammad, blah 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 blah." Joseph Smith. Joseph Smith got pushed out a window and then shot in the head a couple times. Like, there's no like window iconography in Mormonism. Mm-hmm. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he got poisoned to death. There's no poison iconography in Islam. Like, Shimon Bar Kokhba, he got speared to death, I believe, by a Roman centurion. You didn't see those motherfuckers walking around with spears. Like, this is the only guy.
Why? Yeah, why?
I don't know. I think that's it's and like I said,
it's a question that begs an answer.
If you look at the Aleximanos relief, people caught up on this. They made fun of you, and as Perk was saying, Jews demand a sign, Greeks seek wisdom, but we preach Christ crucified. Mm-hmm. A stumbling block to Jews and folly to Gentiles. That's right. But because we're not part of that culture, where the Romans were very shame honor oriented, and the Jews were also very shame honor oriented. Romans, it was more of a social status thing because you're trying to get Rome to be the cap of everything. And Jews, there was religion tied along with the concept of shame honor. But both of those were shame honor culture. And it was in that culture where you had both traditions that crucifixion was the only thing they could agree on.
Wow.
Which was, this is the most shameful, horrible way to go.
Yeah.
That's the iconography that begins to dominate from that area. It's just impossible. It's impossible to explain outside of a resurrection. I was gonna say we have our solution. We believe we know why that is. Yeah, but these guys, they were not a bunch of crucified gods running around. Like you would never make a crucified god, for obvious reasons, the reasons we just explained. Like, how could you worship that guy? He wasn't strong enough to overcome the Romans. Like, what are you doing? Right?
Yep.
Like,
I agree.
That's why when Saul, when the bad guys killed Saul, they hung his body up for an extra couple of days. It's the bad guys that usually use the iconography of the dead hero, not the good guys. You still see it in Chicago. Unfortunately, they got, they'll kill these people, and because they know where the body is, they'll put pictures of the body and all that to traumatize your enemy.
That's terrible.
So that all makes sense to me, but all your family members doing that all the time, like, that's because they were convinced that he defeated the cross. The initial Christians were so convinced that Jesus defeated the cross, not by being a nice person and not by telling us nice things, but he defeated the cross because he rose from the dead. Mm-hmm. And so the cross, which was supposed to be a mockery, they were now able to use the cross to mock. Even
the cross couldn't beat him.
To mock death.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like getting shot with your own gun type of thing. It's the death of death and the death of Christ. So that line right there, like, the beyond the crucified gods, I'm like, please find me one. Find me another movement that was based off of a crucified god. Find me a movement that had like 11 adherents. Like, forget about like the thousands of people.
Just 11.
Just find me that's like the 11. Minimum bar of entry. Find me one where people were declaring that a crucified person was like literally the creator of the universe. You get 11 people, then I'll cash in my Christianity card.
Wow.
Like, just do it. Anyway, Beyond the forgotten Mary, the idol of a false paradise in the mirror of time, souls are struggling, silencing. I was watching, I had an atheist friend ask me this question. He was talking about, anybody care to tell me where God was when this happened? And, there's this cold weather situation happening that we're all caught up in right now.
Yeah.
And one of the girls was one of the women, she's a grown woman, she was missing. Her family was praying for her around the clock. Turns out she got stuck in her car and she froze to death in her car. And so
she did. How far from, if she would have got out and walked, would she still been stuck?
I mean, I don't know.
Oh God.
But there's been a couple stories like that, because some of these places people don't know how to function.
Yep.
So this atheist dude was telling me, we're anybody tell me about God and his interactions with people when that happened? And I said, what do you mean interaction? He's like, I don't know, like not allowing this poor person to die in such a horrible fashion, and maybe answering the prayers of her family while she was freezing to death. I said, yeah, man, that's a really good question. That's a really good question. And so, like, here, where he talks about the idol of a false paradise in the mirror of time, souls are struggling. And in the mirror of time is interesting because it's like you're looking at yourself through time. And he's seeing himself in these other people. These people are crying out for help, and there's nothing for them. Mm-hmm. So when you're in a situation like that, like all the religious bullshit like goes out the window. And I think that's a big kind of mistake that a lot of Christians make, especially when they're talking about, like, when you're talking from the Reformed perspective, where Romans 1 is your only understanding for why people are unbelievers, which is they're suppressing the truth and unrighteousness. Yeah. Like, that's your only paradigm for why people are unbelievers.
Yeah.
And, like, situations like this, or situations like the person where the person literally froze to death and their entire family was praying for them, and they were praying in real faith. Shout out to No God. Let me help you watch the live stream. You almost got not a single arsehole to watch your live stream. Shout out to No God. Everybody be nice to him. But like as a Christian, like, if you're not acknowledging that not only have people prayed and not had their prayers answered, like that kid at the Behemoth show, he's talking about his like nephew or something, the sweetest kid of all time. Kid got cancer. They all prayed for him. He died. That was it for him. If you don't acknowledge that those are also reasons for people's disbelief, if you just want to say you don't believe in God because you're suppressing the truth and unrighteousness, like, okay, like, that is a reason people disbelieve in God.
But it is not.
Not the only reason people disbelieve in God. People disbelieve in God because their kids are missing, and they pray and pray and pray, and they find out that their kid is assaulted in a ditch somewhere. And you're walking around telling everybody that God is all powerful and all knowing. Okay. And they're doing a logical deduction. They're saying God is all powerful, he's all knowing. That means that when that kid was getting kidnapped, terrified, assaulted, all that, God knew was happening, knew it was going to happen, could have stopped him, didn't stop it. That's what that person is putting together. And if you think that saying, oh, you're just a suppressor of truth and unrighteousness, if you think that see, when you answer a person like that, you're not even giving them that answer for them. You're giving them that answer for you. Mm-hmm. Because you can't contend with the fact that so much evil and suffering in the world, and you're walking around telling everybody that you believe in an all-powerful, all-knowing God, and you haven't found a way to reconcile that obvious contradiction, it seems. So instead of saying, you know what, I don't fucking know, and I'm equally as troubled, you're going to pretend like that doesn't trouble you at all. Gaslight that person and act like there's something wrong with them for saying they have a problem with that. Well, to them, it is impossible to combine the concept of all-knowing, all-powerful, and all-loving in a situation where 5-year-olds get raped and thrown in a ditch.
Yeah.
So, my My only answer for that, though, is that the answer is in the lyrics itself. Beyond the crucified gods. And that's my answer to why God didn't intervene in the girl getting frozen to death, or why God didn't intervene in the 5-year-old's life. It's because God himself came down and took part in the worst that human suffering had to offer. And I believe that God was fully knowing, fully powerful, and did nothing because he was benevolent. Mm-hmm. Because if Jesus did not endure that, none of us could be saved. And to me, that's the arithmetic. The arithmetic is, no matter how ugly the thing looks, if God is allowing it, it's because he's going to bring about a greater degree of joy than would otherwise not have happened if that didn't happen to that 5-year-old. That God has good designs in the evil that he allows. And I'm holding on to that because, as Jordan Peterson has said about Christ, Christ is what happens when myth and history collide. He's an actual historical being. You have to contend with that. You're not going to find anybody, aside Richard Carrier accepted, Christ mythicism, or this idea he wasn't really here and all that. I'm sorry, but in the main, the most liberal, unbelieving skeptic says about Jesus that he was actually, and that he believed that he was a fulfillment of something. Mm-hmm. You know, some people say he really thought he was the Son of God. I heard Bart Ehrman say that his understanding of Jesus was that Jesus believed that he was an angel in human form, which I don't think is necessarily truth. Mm-hmm. So, but the point is, because we believe in a Trinity, I could simultaneously say God knows what it's like to be abused, all the rest of the things that we've gone through, and to have a righteous case and not be answered. And simultaneous to that, I can also say God knows what it's like for the most important thing in his life to get slowly tortured and killed in front of him and did nothing to stop it. I can say God relates to both of those. And so there's a sense in which I could say God has earned the right to be trusted in that ditch. He's earned that right. In the person of Christ and in the person of the Father, God has earned that right for me to trust in his goodness in spite of what I'm seeing, because he actually collided with history and found a way to transform that cross, again, which is shameful, horrible, terrible, and most of us, 99.99% of us, do not know what that thing actually means.
Right.
Because it's been so transformed that rappers now, you have to, as a ritual, get a gold-plated cross. That's how transformed he has changed. That instrument that of death and torture has now been transformed into something else. And it's the same way. That kid in that ditch is going to be transformed into something else, so that in 10,000 years, the glory in that kid that is directly connected to how he left this initial phase of the world, it'll be unrecognizable. In the same way where I'm telling you, the cross is a really ugly, terrible symbol. Most Western people have no idea because they're just used to the glory of the cross.
Wow.
So when I see that kid in the ditch, I'm like, God's going to bring some glory in there. Because look, Jesus was one of thousands of Jewish people that were executed. He was one of thousands. There was one Jesus movie that we saw that was absolutely horrible. It's terrible the way they did it. But they did a really good job because they showed this giant ditch like 5 feet away from where the crosses were. And they were just taking people and chucking them in these ditches. And it was like, yeah, that's what it was like. And that was the value of Christ to pretty much everybody around him aside from Joseph of Arimathea. And so from the human perspective, what a fucking waste that was. That's the last thing you would have thought, to put that dude on a cross. So if I can look at the cross and say, yeah, you flipped that. And again, that's something in human history that's undeniable. Mm-hmm. It is just a fact in Western culture. The powerful iconography of the cross is all glory now, and none of the pain and whatever that an original person would have looked at and thought of it as. Okay? So that's what I believe about the 5-year-old. And that's what I believe about the woman stuck in the car, among other things. But I'm not going to say that if you're an atheist and you don't have that relationship with God and you haven't seen Christ, as Paul told the Galatians, clearly portrayed before you as crucified. If you haven't had those experiences with God and you only see the girl in the car and you only see the kid in the ditch, of course, in order to maintain your sanity, you should be an unbeliever. Say it that way, but this whole thing where we're just going to create like simple answers and say, oh, the guy's an unbeliever because something's wrong with him. Mm-hmm. No, he's an unbeliever because something's wrong with the story.
Yeah.
Tell him a better story and maybe he'll believe you. But what I'm getting from a lot of my unbelieving friends is, if this is it and this is how this God operates, fuck it, I'm out. Okay, well, sometimes some of these people are too moral to believe in God. Because some of y'all, you have you got a little Bible study prepped answer that your unbelieving friend is just supposed to accept, but you haven't thought. See, that's the thing, is a lot of these unbelievers have thought very deeply about these issues. Then you come to them with your bullshit little answer because you haven't really thought deeply about it, or you haven't really suffered because your mommy and daddy created an environment where you're not supposed to suffer at all, so you don't know how to tell people about suffering and the shit you've been through because you got no scars. You got your little prefab little answer for these atheist people. These people out here in the real world, man. So the silly little 2 foot deep God that you have, listen, God can save anybody at any time, but some of these atheists, man, they're like, listen, you got to give me a fucking...
You're making this difficult.
You got to give me a thought through answer because I'm not accepting that shit. Mm-hmm. And the God that you're presenting to them isn't the real God, and they're rejecting that God, and they should. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, if I didn't have a crucified God, I would be out. I'd be out of the game for sure, because I've just seen too much. I've seen too much. Like, a lot of these guys in the medical field, these atheists in the medical, they've seen too much, man. They told too many, parents of 11-year-olds to say goodbye. And you're going to show up and tell them, oh, you're an unbeliever because All right. It's a good song. I really, really like the lyrics. The
lyrics were good. I definitely agree with you on the lyrics. For me, the song's like a 6. I'm going to give it a 6.6. Because the lyrics were good.
Yeah, I really liked the lyrics. I liked how challenging the lyrics were. And there's a lot more I could say about it. All I would say is that the answer is in the first stanza of the lyric itself. If you truly dwelt on the idea that God has been crucified, really and truly in history, if you truly believe that God has actually really and truly in history been crucified, it changes you, and it changes a lot of the way that you look at things. God himself was crucified. That's significant in so many different ways. And that's why, Islam's fascinating to me. I love Muhammad as a person. I love dude as a person. And I always say,
I know you do, because honestly, he gets a lot of stuff from their religion and listens to it, and some of the stuff I'll be like, what the fuck? He did what?
Yeah.
And you have to understand, he has very strong lines drawn in the sand of what you're like, okay, that's fine, and then other things that you're like, that's disgusting, don't ever talk about that, I don't want to see that. But there's been a lot of things that I'm like, and you still love that. I'm like, a very intense relationship that you have with the homie.
Right. And I always say, if I wasn't a Christian, I would be a Muslim. But, people misunderstand. Jesus just barely beat out Muhammad. It's there's a galaxy's, I would say, an infinite gap. But the only reason I'm saying it's not an
no analogy that
the only reason I'm saying it's not an infinite gap is because I'm a finite person. I'm not able to create one. But There's a galaxy of a difference between Jesus and Muhammad. Even based on their own claims. Muhammad claimed to just be a regular dude who was chosen by God to deliver the last and final message. And so all of the the honorifics to Muhammad have to do with the fact that he was the last and final messenger for the entire world. And so he brought the last and final message. That's where he gets all of his honorifics from. We are saying that this is the fucking creator of the universe.
There's a bigger difference.
Who died the worst death possible. Like, they're not the same. When Muhammad, shout out to Muhammad, but in the Battle of Uhud, he had Talha and all those boys put their lives on the line defending this boy. I mean, he got, they to this day, they make a big, his face guard was smashed into his mouth and a couple of his teeth came out. Look what they did to Rasulullah, blah, blah, blah. That's just a bad day outside the wire, man. Like, it's not even close. It's just not even close. I have a crucified God. That's a really good story. Whether or not it's true is a separate issue. Yeah. But it has a hell of a lot of utility.
Yeah, it does.
Especially when I'm talking about that 5-year-old in the ditch. If you don't have a crucified God, I'm sorry. There is no way to deal with that 5-year-old in the ditch.
No.
None. Period. So that's just where I'm at with it.
Yeah, because I guess it just leads you, like, if you don't have that, what do you have? And then I guess that could make you really dark inside, because if there's no reason, there's no explanation.
You should be.
There's no salvation for it. It's just so horrible.
He forgot to respond. You respawn in like Fortnite or whatever.
Yeah.
He got to respond and he waited 3 days. The game was glitched.
Ridiculous.
Well, I don't think he forgot. He did on. Oh, shout out to Revo. Revo, you just heard a not very deep conversation. 275. Jesus was a way, way, way better human. Well, yeah, he was. Yeah, David Wood. He's like, I'm not even gonna compare Jesus to Muhammad. Let's just compare Muhammad to me. He said, welcome to the show, Jesus is Muhammad, where we talk about the greatest human being that has ever walked the face of the earth, and there will never be a comparison. And the other is Muhammad. Welcome to the show.
Who did that?
David Wood. They hate Muhammad. They don't love.
Maybe
they don't love Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam the way I love him. But nobody. I haven't run into any Christian who loves Muhammad as much as me. Okay,
either.
all right. I'm gonna give this a 9.4.
6.6.
6.6. Okay, what? You gave it a 6.6? How dare you? give it a 6.6?
But I feel like
poor Metlcat.
But that's a hat tip to it, because it's a 6.6.
Metlcat, are you still here? Are you still here, dear listener? We got one more song for you beautiful people. We shall return. I know we're going a little bit late here. We're going a little long. I'm sorry.
Vin's not sorry. He's enjoying it.
Vin
Sorry
out.
Sorry out.
Gone. Yeah, that light makes it look all party. It's party time.
Yeah.
I'm Vin.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at insori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is a community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft. Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 here and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed, and a child shall lead them to buy our merch. Vin will be here soon enough. Here's the little aardvarky character that Johan got me for Christmas. He got it from a college. They were having like an art thing. We have one more song on our list. Honey, Johan is bringing Seneca up. You heard me? All right. Was box score ever beat while I was AWOL? Nope, it never was. But I have brought it up in a couple of reviews. I brought it up with the kids too as an example. I was like, look, Bach is objectively good. I think it's trash because of how it hits me emotionally. Because I can't remember. I was talking something through with them. Babe, are you ready? Christmas was pretty good. We had one year we missed it. We didn't get to put up our tree. But this year we got our tree up. We got our decorations up. The kids all bought gifts for each other. It was really cute. We actually have a couple gifts from the village here.
Beautiful.
What's beautiful?
Those lights. The studio.
Yeah.
Looks very nice.
Oh.
Fucker.
Why don't we just throw all those away? All we do is step on those things. It's chess pieces. We used to have that chessboard set up back here, and like our terrible children, the babies, the small ones, like
don't have any. Don't have any.
No, they're wonderful.
Don't have any.
Oh, my back. Okay, ready?
All right. What did you tell them?
Ready.
What'd you tell the people?
Back in the day we're too low. Oh, I'm sure that the behemoth scores from back in the day.
I don't think they were. I think next year I'm going to go back to the first year scoring methodology.
You had different scoring methodologies?
Oh yeah. Look, we're giving people 7s, all types of shit. People are spoiled now. They forgot the old days.
Volahn song. You're probably right.
Oh, I'm definitely right.
Well, I don't know. I've given some low scores this year. Okay. Volahn song. Chamalcan. That's what we're doing next.
What did you do? Did you destroy that?
Yeah, of course.
Volhan song Chamalcan. Chamalcan is the name of the song.
All right, let's do it. So far.
We can't do it because I don't have the link because this computer Dora is going 2 miles an hour. Go ahead.
I'll chat while you do that.
Yeah.
So far, it's been all black metal. So, he did say it was going to stick to it. I saw him in the comment section over there. So
stick to what? Black metal?
Yep, keeping black metal all night. I've never heard of this band before.
He got a gift for the baby for Christmas, but he never sent it.
Sounds like something I would do. Okay, I'm gonna pull up the comment section over here because I can't.
That's what I'm saying. I can't do everything here. Good Lord. Just having this conversation with Dorian.
So sorry.
You don't look sorry. Oh,
Rainbow Friends.
He went right to the edge with this joint too. 10 minutes and 41 seconds. Was it like we don't there's a certain cutoff, dear listener.
It is. You're not supposed to go over 10 minutes.
We're not going to listen to a 19-minute song. Like, we'll listen to it, but that's 2 songs, baby.
But I'm sure that Metlcat told me that it was over 10 minutes.
Metlcat is different.
Yeah, he must have told me, and I
See,
must have told him that
knows,
because it's Metlcat, it's good.
We're not going to nickel him down. Although there was one time where that dude played you. It was like a 25-minute song.
No. there was like 3 songs in that list that were never bought.
Yeah, yeah, he played you.
He did. He played me so hard.
I'm not gonna mention who it was. See, my thing is like when you get played in business, like for me, if a person like finds a very elegant way to G you, like I never get mad at the person that does it.
That you tip your hat to them.
I tip my hat to him. I'm like, oh, okay, this guy got us. He got us good. Good for them.
You're like that with the kids too.
Yeah. Like if they find a good little plot, because that's how. Remember, God was with the.
I knew it. Yeah, the manager.
With the dishonest manager.
Yeah,
you know, like
that's literally what I think of anytime it's happening. I'm like, yep.
I'm pretty sure it's based off of a true story. Jesus sit
sure.
there and watch like, I want this nigga gonna. Okay, we'll make him successful. There he is.
All right, well,
it's probably Jonah's cousin or somebody.
You know nobody knows. Like, you know that
nobody knows what we're talking about.
You know
that
now. Verse in Timothy where it basically says like that. Basically, like exercise does some good. It's not like a world of like it's not everything.
Yeah, it has.
But
benefit.
It does have some benefit
it has
to it.
Worldly benefit. Yeah.
I feel like that's one of those things too, where he's like that has some benefit, some worldly benefit to it. If you like the way that the guy was,
I guess.
You know what? This is what the guy did. The guy, he was bad. He was going to get fired. He knew he was going to get fired, and so he went and he took his boss's logbook because he was the guy that would erase everybody. Like when people paid off their debts, he would say, "Yeah, they paid off your debts." He'd say that to the boss. So this guy, he starts calling in all these people that owe his boss like a bunch of debts, and he like cut that one in half, cut that one by 40%. He cuts all these because he knows when the boss fires him, he'll have friends around. That's what he did.
Yeah, I can't find lyrics for this band, so I'm getting a little bit upset here. We already have the download.
If we can't find Metlcat, can you send us the lyrics?
Quetzalcoatl.
He might know exactly where to find them.
Yeah, they're also not an English band either, so that might be some of the problem. Mm-hmm. It might be some of the problem. But yeah, I can't find.
Shoot. Okay. Well, Perk, if we use your breakdown of the, I've been rating that wrong. He said he's gonna send you the lyrics, so just go to my email.
Okay.
My secret one.
Okay. What did Perkinoff say?
Okay,
what
so he
what did
says
Perk say I was doing wrong?
My rating system is usually something like 0 to 3 is bad, 4 to 5 is mediocre to average, 6 to 7 is above average, 8 to 9 is great, and 10 is a masterpiece. If that's the rating system, I've made some mistakes in my day.
You failed me for the last time.
But I see while you're downloading that, I'll be
Yeah, she'll be back. Okay,
back.
so I'm waiting on these lyrics. You guys know how we get down. In order to give the thing the proper treatment, you have got to have the lyrics, dear listener. I'm sorry, but that's just the way shit goes. Okay, we got to have the lyrics. So sit tight. The lyrics are on the way. They're coming in an inbox. You could complain about 19 minutes. You complained about a 3.40 minute song. Never happy. What was that? The Goo Goo Gachoob song? Got a 3.5. Poor Dwayne was in the house. Quetzalcoatl is the name of my favorite girlfriend in Final Fantasy VIII. Really? All right, Metlcat sent it, so let me jump into this email here. That's Soraya's email. What's the code? Let's see. Soraya 123. Easy code. I'm sorry.
What happened to the?
It wasn't in the Qadr of Allah. You know, we just got done talking about. We just got done talking about human suffering, things of that nature. Like you got to learn how to suffer. Where's this email?
I am learning.
Yeah, Habibi. Where's this email? You didn't. Okay. We can't find the lyrics for this song.
Wait, if he said he sent it, let me open the email.
Well, I believe. GF. What? Not girlfriend? Oh, GF stands for Guardian Force. He is a thunder. Oh, okay. Yeah, so it's a dude. Don't worry about it. You don't know what I'm talking about.
Okay, so it's there. Here we go.
Who is Gordon Ryan? Just send me that link. Yeah, Rasul.
It's the yeah, I will.
Yeah, I have no idea who
Gordon
Ryan is. Yeah, Habibi. Who is Gordon Ryan? Let me check here. Gordon Ryan, the martial artist. Oh boy, he said something about suicide. I bet you anything it's bad. He looks like one of these, man people. like Kevin Samuels or whatever.
Oh, man, people.
I'm an alpha male, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
All right, we have found the lyrics, thank God. Did you send that to me in a link?
Yep. You have the link.
Hold on. I'm going to make sure I have the link before I do the song.
The name of the song is Chamalcan. It's right there. You just click that.
He's
thing.
the best no-gi jiu-jitsu guy of all
Number
time.
one, show lyrics.
Chamalcan, show lyrics. Are they English? Yes.
Sori ancestral
Basically English.
What do you mean, basically? It's literally all, except for that word, Chamalcan. Oh, the last line. Takpan something.
What are you talking about? Just talk to the people.
The
please.
last line is not in English.
Can you just talk to the people? There's lots of lines in here that aren't English. Good Lord.
Are we looking at the same lyric? It doesn't matter. Just do your thing. I'm going to talk to the people.
I am. Talk to the people.
Oh, okay. What about a -50? Yeah. Amy, -50 means you hurt my heart.
That was you. Didn't you give that to like Bach or something?
That's what I
like
did
that?
because it was so painful for me
I
emotionally.
remember you saying that. I was
Depression-wise.
like, she ain't gonna do that. She ain't gonna do that. And you like really gave it a -50. It's like
Oh,
one
I
of the
did.
It was literally like one of the best songs I've ever heard in my life. To be honest
I
with
would
you.
break any CD that was playing that.
Okay.
No, I'm going to give it a re-listen. I'm doing some internal work, changing some mindsets that I have and have had for a long time. So who knows? Maybe that'll make some adjustments. Maybe I doubt it. I think Bach will still make me feel depressed, but I don't know. But I'll give it another go when I'll let you know when the time is right. I'll do it again.
Okay. All right. Can we
That's
get to
true.
Can we get to this? Go ahead.
Are you ready?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well,
What were you saying?
You complain about 19 minutes and you complained about 3.4 minute songs. Never happy. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Let's
All right,
go.
guys. Here we go. Finally, after popular demand, Chamalcan by the band Volhan. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's go, baby. Mesoamerican feel to it.
Sorry.
Oh man, I really enjoyed this song. And
what category? I mean,
I am
changed.
This is one of those songs where to truly, truly get it, you got to listen to it 10 times.
Oh, I believe that.
I think I got the gist of it.
Sonically or lyrically?
Like what they were trying to do, like where they were trying to... Okay, so there's some debate here, scholarship-wise, as far as what that word means.
Oh, really?
The title track.
Okay.
So it appears half the scholarship believes it's the god is a bat. It's manifested in the form of a bat, like an anthropomorphic sort of humanoid bat, which is what you're seeing here. Which was the title of what was the title of the track again? It was Chamalcan.
Yeah.
Okay, so Chamalcan either takes a view where it's talking about a bat, or it's talking about an anthropomorphized, wouldn't you know it, serpent, snake. And if you look at the lyrics in the song itself, they obviously take the view that this is a serpentine type deity, obviously, because they literally mention the serpent in the song itself. Right? Proclaim the serpent sermon of fire as will through the ancestral gaze of the obsidian oracle, etc., etc., etc. So this is a sort of... What's fascinating is that they literally called out the city that they're from in the song itself.
Oh, they did?
They said, here it is right here. I think it's like toward the end of it. I'm so fascinated by this band. It's so interesting. Tekpan, you see right there where it says Guatemalayan or whatever. That's how you say Guatemalan in their language.
Oh.
So Tekpan is a city in Guatemala. He basically saying into the cosmic fire of the spirit of Tekman, Guatemala. Basically.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so to me, I think this is about them trying to hold on to their heritage. You'll notice he says barbaric pagan honor. It seems that a lot of the pagans, their relationship, it seems to Christianity is a sort of conquer type relationship. And so holding on to their pagan roots has sociological as well as religious implications.
Oh, yeah.
Because, this is, especially within Western Christianity, the mindset is not only do they have to adopt our belief system, but they also have to adopt our cultural expressions. Because Western people don't realize that they worship their own ethnicity and all those things. So, no, I'm not using that as a code for white. I'm using it just as a code for Western.
Yeah.
Because it's the same way. But so it seems like it's funny because there's an actual. I'm going to read it when I get off of here. My Stanford.edu subscription.
You use that one a decent amount, huh?
Yeah, it's got Tekpan, Guatemala, a modern Mayan town in global and local context.
Okay.
So that town, Tekpan in Guatemala, seems to be a distinctly, we held on to Mayan traditions, and this is one of the war deities that they had was Chamalcan, was this sort of serpentine warrior deity type of thing, and I'm assuming he's saying we're gonna continue to memorialize this person, this being or whatever, because it represents our ancestral sort of heritage. We're gonna hold on to that and not, what's being imposed on us. What you looked like weirded out when I said that.
Well, just because you've been saying serpentine this whole time, and so to me, I'm thinking, oh, okay, so this is gonna have something to do with like a fall of Satan or something like that. And then you talked about their city, so I was like, okay, so now we're talking about so I just didn't expect for you to say that that the serpent was basically the embodiment of their culture and everything that kind of like makes them in their opinion.
Well,
and so I was surprised to hear you say that they were keeping, because I didn't expect it to be about that. Okay.
Well, that's an interesting thought process relative to serpents, because if Heiser's right, and I think he is, the term seraph And these are beings that are the closest to the throne. Seraph or cherubim, depending on,
Seraph and seraphim are the same thing.
Yeah, seraphim. That's just the S, the I am.
Okay.
Function.
Multiple.
So you have one cherub.
I
But
didn't know
if you
that.
had multiple cherub, you'd have cherubim. You had one seraph. It'd be seraph.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Would be one L. One God would be one L. But then if you have Elohim, then that I am functions as a plural.
So if you said Satan was a seraphim, that's wrong. You would say he was a seraph.
He was a seraph. You'd say he was among the seraphim.
Yeah.
Would be the idea. So if you take Heiser's worldview, right, is that you had these powerful beings, Benai Elohim, seraphim, cherubim, whatever, and they had jurisdiction over the inhabited human world, and their job was essentially to show us how to do the practicals, right? Like, show them how to develop language, show them how to invent the wheel, show them how to relate to fire, show them how to relate to all these things. Like, that was their job. And obviously, on the spiritual side, they were to lead us to the worship of Yahweh. When you get to the intertestamental literature, these beings don't do that anymore. They're teaching them warfare, sexuality, blah, blah, blah. Makeup, and how to work. And they took the worship for themselves. Because when you think about it, when you occupy, like, let's say there was a group of savages, and you were instructed to go back in time, and you were instructed, get them up to speed on this shit. So you would probably come down in some craft, right? That automatically, you know how people are. They're like going to be inclined to worship you, right? And you're like, no, like, don't worship me. Here, worship God. But eventually you get to the point where it's like, this feels pretty good, right? And so now you stop directing the worship to Yahweh and you keep the worship for yourself, and then you become corrupted by that. And so my point is, there are a lot of ancient religions that focus on worshiping serpents. You could say, well, they have that because, they were afraid of serpents, and so blah, blah, blah. You can find it sociological.
They live by the desert.
Or what you could say is, these beings Seraphim originally looked serpentine. So what you look up as a snake here is really just a fake copy of what an actual seraph looks like. So all of these mighty beings who had jurisdiction over the planets, all of them look serpentine, because that's what a seraph actually looks like. So a snake itself is not a representation of something bad in and of itself. It becomes that because there were a group of them. But what if serpents were actually high order of creation, and when you get to heaven, you're going to see a bunch of serpents worshiping God in the same way that you're going to see a bunch of humanoid beings worshiping God, and we know that there's a bunch of bad humans in the world. So
that's a weird thought.
But we know there's a difference between good humans and bad humans, right? So if you get to heaven and you see a very powerful yet serpentine type being, you're going to probably think, oh, this is a bad guy. But what if they were the original and they were actually really good, right? And so they were there to give you wisdom and all the rest of it. So that would explain to me why so many religions have serpents that they worship, or serpentine or reptilian type beings that they worship, because it appears, because seraph and serpent gets used interchangeably. We talked about this in Numbers with the curse of the, like, seraph and serpentine get used interchangeably. It would also explain the whole, quote, talking snake thing in the garden. It wasn't that it was an actual snake that you're thinking. It was the original sort of perception of these divine beings were serpentine. So hence why Eve would have no problem discussing this stuff. She wasn't talking to a garden animal, I don't think. I think she was talking to one of these beings.
Right, and if this being came to her and got her to consider something other than God had told her, I mean, that means that this being did have some influence over her, because she knew what she was told, and he came in and deceived her. So you're not going to get deceived by a schmuck.
Right.
You know what I'm
so
saying?
When he says you shall be, I mean, literally it says you shall be as the gods or gods.
Mm-hmm. And
which he would qualify as. So my point is, I understand there's a very clear reason why a lot of these religions are devoted to serpents. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's because of the serpents in the ground. I think it's because they were interfacing with divine beings who appeared serpentine, and that's why they worshipped serpents. So,
those churches that embarrassing on our side for this one, but apparently there are branches that consider themselves Christian, the snake handler churches. Do you think that there's anything? I don't know. Like if I don't know where. Forget about it. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was trying to figure out if there's anything with them that, like, there's a verse that talks about that you're gonna like trample on snakes,
scorpions, and
and stuff like that. Like, do you think that those are directly talking about not like a literal like snake, but that they're actually talking about
spiritual
the
warfare,
supernatural aspect of it?
For sure, 100%.
So, and then these
100%.
churches literalize it, and then they start carrying snakes around. I mean, because it was a literal story that Paul had gotten off the boat, and the snake was.
I think that's more of the interpolation found in the long ending of Mark, where it says, they'll be able to drink deadly poison, they'll handle serpents.
Yeah. That's the one. That's the one.
Yeah. And so
that's the one I thought I was talking about.
Yeah, but to Jonathan's point, Moses raises a bronze serpent to heal the people, which that's a verse I was referring to in Numbers, where the terms serpent and seraph are used interchangeably there.
Right.
And it wasn't like it only translates it as serpent when they bit the people, but then they translate it as seraph when they're looking at the thing to be healed. It's used interchangeably. And what's interesting is Jesus himself compares himself to a serpent. Mm-hmm. He says, as the serpent was lifted up in the wilderness, so must the Son of Man be lifted up. So Jesus embodies a serpent on the cross.
Yeah.
Right? And so when Jesus is speaking from the cross, it's a serpent in the tree. We're listening to the voice of a serpent in the tree to a degree, right? And that's what reverses what happened in Eden, because Christ, the serpent from the tree, is speaking to his bride, the serpent from the tree, but he's ingesting the poison apple himself, basically. So, like, it's just very, very fascinating to me how universal serpent worship is. While at the same time, how almost universal fear of the serpent is also there in the human psychology. And of course, you can get there easily from we were afraid of snakes, blah blah blah. But lions don't seem to have the same kind of effect as serpents do. There's something very intoxicating and strange. There's something very singular about the way that serpents operate.
So true. Yeah.
And my current mentality on what ultimate reality actually is, where I'm at currently, is that none of this physical shit is real. I think I've got enough scientific backing to say that none of this shit is real. But that means that everything here is an icon of something. And when you open that up, that from a scientific level, that everything here is really just an icon of something, that opens up a bunch of questions. But it does explain snakes to me. Because snakes are an icon of something in the same way that human beings are, we ourselves are an icon of something more original and greater than ourselves, namely God. God gave us the answer to the test as to what a human being is. A human being is in the image of God, but that doesn't mean that that what we call a snake on the ground is not in the image of something else. I think snakes are the image of the seraphim.
What an interesting way of
we're the image
doing
of God.
That.
Snakes are the image of seraphs. Gold is the image of something. Diamonds are the image of something.
Okay, so when he says you're going to crawl on your belly, you're thinking that means his projection into this world is going to be that.
You with that. Right. So whatever those beings are, they all got to degrade because of this guy. So I'm sure all the other seraph are looking at him like, you motherfucker. So now for all eternity, everybody's going to be giving us a side eye because of your lying ass.
It's true. And people always think that like Satan is a singular character, as in he's the only one of his kind.
Right.
So Like,
Yeah, and
everybody just gets erased.
Jesus became the serpent on the cross, right? And so in that way, Jesus is also redeeming the seraphim, because for the entire time, all the serpents in the trees, they've always been bad. So Jesus has to come and redeem them as well. So then when we show up to them, in heaven, Jesus is like, it's okay, because he could take that form and say, "See, I'm good too. It's okay. We're good." But we live in a world full of icons. So right now. The serpent function is that icon, but once that icon is served its usefulness, then we'll be able to look at serpents differently.
That's crazy.
I actually unironically think that just as humans are made in the image of God, animals are in the image of the angels. Yeah, I agree.
Animals are in the image of the angel. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so
that is an interesting thought.
Yeah. That snake is in the
image. Yeah, you're thinking all around. That's interesting.
Well, that makes sense, right? Because when Ezekiel and John see the cherubim, which are very closely related, say one had the face of an eagle, one had the face of a this, one had the face of that, one had the face of a man. So there's a clear correlation between the two.
Yeah.
So the entire universe is iconographic. Iconographic, I think, is the term. The entire universe is an icon. Yeah. So one of them correlates to something else, and so that's I think the snake correlates to the seraph. And that would explain, because they're very high. I think even in Aquinas' order, I think seraphs, the cherubim or the seraphim, they're like at the top right before, when you get to God. Obviously, there's an infinite distance, but if you think about it that way, they were the highest category of being. So for God to attach the icon of that being to a being that crawls on the ground and eats dust is like the ultimate. That's why I don't think that when you first get introduced to the devil, it doesn't say this mighty angel who was second only to Yahweh was more deceitful. Right. He specifically talks about him as a serpent that guy. Mm-hmm. And he's purposely speaking of him in the animal kingdom because that puts him beneath Adam. Mm-hmm. When in reality, at the time, he was obviously above, ontologically and practically above Adam. Right? It wasn't just a regular snake, because it says you'll be on the dust now that's part of his curse. Well, if he was there, it doesn't make sense. You know what I'm saying?
They used to tell us, that the snake had legs, and then he removed his legs.
Yeah, the snake had legs.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And then I'd be like, but like a salamander?
Yeah.
What's happening here?
Yeah. But really, really interesting stuff. So it looks like these guys are saying, look, we're going to keep our heritage. We got that barbarian thing. He talked about the discipline of the sun. I don't know if that's something that got lost in translation, like the discipline of the sun. What do you mean by that? Other than to say, obviously, those people are acclimated to that kind of suffering. And Western people are not. Like, we see it a lot when we see people in the sauna. Mm-hmm. Like, doesn't matter how big and tough you are. There's a certain kind of discipline that you need to endure heat. Mm-hmm. So, Aquinas' angelology is heavily influenced by Pseudo-Dionysius. So, if I recall, whose highest orders are Seraphim, Cherubim, and Ophanim. Okay, there you go. So, Seraphim are number one. There you go.
I thought that's what you had told me years ago. Because Satan, you said, was a seraphim. So I thought you said that made him, that he was like the top of God's angels.
Yeah, I mean, he's called a cherub. You're the anointed cherub who covers in Ezekiel. But to Heiser's point, I think seraphim and cherubim are actually interchangeable terms as well. But I think a seraph is probably a cherub in a certain state of worship, because the term actually means the burning ones.
That's right.
So I just think that when a cherub is...
Which one means the burning ones?
Seraph. Seraph. Seraphim literally means the burning ones, or the ones who are burning. So I just think that a seraph is what a cherub looks like when it's in a moment of ecstasy. Oh. Right. So when a cherub is in a moment of ecstasy, like what Isaiah saw, holy, 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 is in there shouting, that's the word seraphim, and it just means the burning one. So it just means, to me, when a cherub is in a normal state, he's a regular cherub, which means a living one, I think is what it means. As a matter of fact, in the Revelation, the cherubim are interpreted as living ones, like the four living creatures.
Okay, if that was true,
they're living ones.
Yeah.
But when they're worshiping, he calls them the burning ones. That's my whatever. Go ahead.
If that's true, I wonder if they have a special name for like human beings too, like when we're regular and then when we're worshiping.
Yeah, like when you're the closest like I've seen on a human level, like that mixture of like the beauty and the power and the like when you're
in
like
worship.
in that zone worshiping God, like it's a
spot.
It's a sight. It's a sight to behold, which is something that's very difficult to explain to people. Like that was like one of the craziest things about that group was like we'd be in certain situations and then people would be caught up in these moments of ecstasy, and it was like there'd be other people that would just stop and watch.
Oh,
and
really?
I understand like how weird that is, but at the same time, like to be in a room when that shit is happening and everybody knows like what's happening, like this is some like interdimensional shit is happening. Like I remember one.
Oh yeah,
like,
sometimes.
there are a couple times, and it was crazy too because we had people in there that didn't have categories for what was going on, so sometimes they'd be like be freaked out because like shit was happening in the room, and like it's so hard to explain.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I remember I would tell people like, yo, what you just experienced like an hour ago,
not.
like do not take that shit for granted because this does not happen like this. But like you had just a group of, there was so much focus with those people at the time, like, and the leadership too was like so like singularly focused, and it's the best thing, the worst thing about it, like these people were extremists at the leadership team, and so
yeah,
it created a certain kind of environment that was exhilarating and fearful at the same. People were just weird stuff. Anyway, and good weird stuff happened, but it's one of those things where it's like.
I remember there was like one time where we had it was like a prayer meeting. There was not a bunch of people. There was probably like, I don't know, 10 people there, maybe 15. And everybody showed up. I can't really tell you a whole lot about the night. I just remember it was like the prayer, and we did different worship songs and stuff. It was just a really, really dynamic night. It was really, really cool. Though there was a girl that was there with us, and she had okay, so at that point in my life, I mean, I hadn't even drank alcohol, nothing. Like,
yeah.
So I had no experiences outside of the ecstasy that you feel in worship toward your God, my God. And so my experiences that I was experiencing there was unbelievable in my opinion. But I had heard about, different people with drugs and alcohol and craziness, whatever. And so I was like, wow, I wonder what there would be for a difference. But anyway, this girl had a lot of experiences, stuff that I had never experienced, things I'd never even heard of. And I remember after that prayer meeting got done, because she was not like, she wasn't, I guess you could say, of the same religion. She was kind of like an onlooker jumping in to be like,
I was there?
Oh yeah.
Who was that?
And so we're all, the whole meeting got done, I guess you could call it, and she was like blown away. And she was saying to me like, she's like, I've never had an experience like this. She said, literally, this is the best experience of my entire life. She's of all the things that I have ever experienced, and she's experienced a lot of things. I think life has been pretty hot for her at some points, you know what I mean? Like, but she was like, nothing compares to what I experienced here tonight. And I thought it was, I can't say whether or not she's on the team, you know what I mean? Like, she's kind of, it's hard to tell. But I will say that like, whether or not like she experienced something that night that was unplanned, and it wasn't something that she was given, it wasn't something that we gave to her, you know what I'm saying? Like, none of us gave her anything. We all just sat in the room and experienced it for what it was.
That's one of the problems with,
it was supernatural. It was crazy.
is that people have those experiences and then they want to put it in a bottle and control those experiences.
Right.
And have them whenever. And it's not up to you. If these beings are real, then there cannot be a formula. And so like that's the deceptive part of it. Like there are other religions where it's like you do this, and this spirit will automatically do this. If you have a system where a spirit or a consciousness is doing that, that's because they're playing you. You can't even control yourself What makes you think that you can control these beings that are obviously functioning in another dimension than you? That where they are and what they're conscious of, you don't have access to, but they have access to us. And you're just you think that you can find some way to manipulate them to where they have to obey you, like they're playing you.
Yeah.
That's where people get in trouble because they constantly want to have that, experience over and over again, and it's not for you to control. Yeah. But yeah, it sounds like that's what it was to me. These guys are trying to hold on to their Mayan heritage. Shout out to Guatemala. I love, usually we see the Europeans. The Europeans are pretty good at saying, hey, we're going to hold on to our shit. But these guys did a really good job. Really, really good job. No, John, everybody can chat. See? Yeah. So I really like this. That's why I said, like, this song is deep as hell. There's so much more to it. Especially, the more and more I look into this stuff, lyrically speaking and scientifically speaking. This was my song of the night, though, so this is get a 9.6 for me.
Oh wow. Okay. So sonically, I went back and forth because there was some parts of it that I was like, what is this experience? And then there was other ones where I was like, yeah, what's this experience? Like it was just it had just different parts to it that for me didn't feel like that they meshed, but I wasn't looking at the lyrics, and I actually kind of regret that because I wonder if I had, but it was in English, right?
Yeah, it was English.
Yeah. A lot of times when it's black metal, I don't know, for some reason don't follow the lyrics so much. I'm just trying to listen to the music and try to take it in. Maybe it's because it's not my thing.
Did we get the stuff Kai sent us yet?
Yeah, I've got stuff right over there. That's what I said. I said we got a couple of gifts. Maybe we open them after. But,
I see. Yeah, let's open them with Kai here.
Yeah, let's finish this review though first, and then we'll jump into that because I'll end up forgetting. Anyway, so yeah, like it was kind of like that. Then when you started breaking down the lyrics, I'm like, wow, this is a really cool song. I really liked where they were going with it. I liked the conversation that it brought. So I'll give this one a 9.
Yeah, it's a 9.6 to me. I really, really, really enjoyed it a lot. 9 out of 10 for me. Good song. I'm a really big fan of this band. Haha. Very well. Very well.
Apparently, that's the second time we've reviewed this band.
Shout out to
So if you liked it, there's another one out there. Another review out there. This band.
Is there another one coming for this band?
No, I'm saying Metlcat said that we already reviewed them before. So looks like
that's from Metlcat.
Yeah, we did.
That's from Metlcat.
We did. Look it up.
That's from Metlcat. And this is for Emily Forever. Emily Forever. Emily Forever.
All right.
Emily Forever.
Just change the banner. All right, so let's Vin out, Sori out, and then we'll do the gifts.
Oh yes, we have gifts. Emily Forever. Okay, Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone. All right, stay tuned because we got some gifts. We got a belated Christmas in December, dear listener. We got some gifts to open up. Is this the big homie? Y'all remember we used to do this? Christmas in July, Christmas in July, Christmas in July. Is these all from the homie?
I'm not sure. I'd have to look.
It's Christmas time in the city.
Christmas time.
Silver bells, silver bells. Here's an unknown fact about me. I actually love Christmas music and would play it all throughout the year if I could.
Who's that? Who said that?
Me.
What do you mean? Then how come you didn't play it much?
That's a
the whole time we've been together, you barely played it.
That's an unknown truth about me, guys. That's an unknown truth about me.
Then we're gonna play the hell out of the Christmas music next year.
I'm lying to you. I hate Christmas music. I like music like this. All right. All right, guys, here we go. Okay, you're opening first.
The Perfect Police State, an
Holy
undercover odyssey into China's terrifying surveillance dystopia of the future.
Here we go, guys. Who is this from?
This is Enjoy Your Grift. I believe Vin will find this book very interesting. With love from Finland, from Kai.
From Kai.
From
Shout out to the big
Kai.
Hold on, let me really fuck with people's mind state here. All right, there you go. Look at this, guys. The Perfect Police State. Boom. That's from the big homie Kai. Thank you very much, homie. Very, very much. We continue.
How do you feel?
Can I open up one now? Because
Yeah.
you opened up the first one. I
Yeah.
thought we were going to, like, do scissors,
Stagger?
paper. We were going to do scissors, paper, rock, all types of shit.
Oh, well, you should have said something.
No, it's too late now. It's too
I
late.
just got excited about
Too
opening.
late. Kai!
Too late to apologize.
Hear me! Oh, we got a DVD.
Oh, shit.
What? Here you go.
Well, I was opening up with a pen. It was a bad idea.
This says, this movie is one of the best war movies ever made. It's 2017. Finland's 100th birthday. Second remake of a classic movie from the 50s. This movie is a tradition here. On every Independence Day, it's shown on TV. Whoa.
Oh.
Shout out to that. Okay, let's see. Wanted to send something for the kids, too. Maybe something Sori can use. Homeschooling the kids. With love from Finland. Okay, so here's the movie. Okay, Unknown Soldier. This is basically like the 4th of July for the Finnish people. Shout out to the Finnish people. Oh, Negative Vibes is in the house. Vin is on the... Look, they're like, what sorcery is this? Vin is on the left.
You can see how
I'm
not
actually
symmetrical,
not.
unsymmetrical.
Here's, Can You Hear the Trees Talking?
Ooh,
Excellent.
this does look like something I would like to do with the
Good
kids.
primer of animism. Let's
Discovering the
teach
hidden
our
life of the
children
forest.
animism. Let's raise them to be heretics, dear
How
listener.
trees work. Look at the leaves. Oh, I'm going to have to do this with the boys. They're going to love this. Okay, here you go.
Remember the email about the movie, Kai says. Okay, is this the last one? Is the last one?
I don't remember. Yeah, that's the last one.
Look at this wrapping. We should have had Orion. We should have had... You see how strategic Reza was when he was
Oh, yeah.
opening
He
the
stood
presents?
there. Ray was too. He would stand there and look at the gift, and he'd try to find the weakness in the wrapping paper and then dig from there. But you have to understand, like, this
People
kid
are,
is into
legit,
everything.
They're
and
like legit uncomfortable.
so weird.
That's what I'm saying. Like, look at this. We got to do something. I want to do something with this in the studio. This kind of wrapping tape.
It's true. We could make clothes out of
Do
it.
something. Like maybe we put a cage over that thing over there. There's a lot of shit we could do with that.
That's a weird feeling. You guys, it's paper, but it's like...
What's up, Jam Noob? Yeah, that's
It's
badass.
little, the whole thing's made out of paper. It's
That's
very
really badass.
bizarre.
Oh,
Let's see what it looks like. Kind of
Whoa, dude.
Amorphous.
Whoa. This is amazing. This is a band that you love this. I was looking for Soraya, but she's already off.
Well,
See,
I just wanted to see what it looked like
I
on the
know.
wall.
I know. As soon as
Oh, you can't even see it.
it's
I
not
put it up
even
too
there,
high.
you put it up too high. I knew. That's what I'm saying. Like, put it as a cage. Put it like right over that picture. See if it does anything. What's up? What's up, Jam Noob? As soon as Kai got in that bitch, I knew you were gonna go and be like, oh, blah blah blah. Look at this, guys. It's like the definitive. It literally is the book on Amorphous. Literally the book on Amorphous. Holy smokes!
It looks like you cage 'em up. That
Huh?
doesn't look good. You can't even
No,
see
it doesn't
anymore.
look good. It doesn't look good.
That's
I just want
trash.
you to get it out of the way. Just get it out of the way. Wow, Kai. Look at this. I wish you guys could see like this book, dude. A story about friendship, perseverance, ambition, and love for music. Amorphous, founded in 1990, is one of Finland's most internationally successful bands and pioneering musical exports. This official and authorized biography covers the first 25 years of the band's history from 1990 to 2015,
Oh, wow.
shedding light on the eventful story of Amorphous in a thorough, informative, and entertaining way. All current and former members of the band, as well as several other people from behind the scenes, get to have their say in the pages of this book.
Okay.
It's the realness, guys. Beautiful pictures. Look at the inside of this thing here. Like, that's what's up. Shout out to the big homie Kai.
All right.
We appreciate
so he
you, buddy.
says Oh, that's a spoiler alert. Oh, but spoiler for what's in the box. So one of the gifts is a DVD. It's a movie, that one, The Unknown Soldier, one of the best war movies ever made in my opinion. While the 1955 film adapted is the best, this movie is an adaptation of the best-selling 1954 classic novel of the same name by Volahn
Lima. I don't know. I don't know why you keep referring to me. I don't know the answer to these questions.
I know you don't know the answer, but it doesn't matter. It just sounds better. It sounds less like when I say it, even if I'm trying, it sounds like I don't give a fuck as I'm reading it. You read it, and it sounds like you were trying to be, nice about it. The Unknown Soldier.
Some people love me. Why do Vin gets gifts? They're really not for me. They're for Sori and the kids. Nobody actually gives me gifts.
Why are you trying to gaslight these people? That literally, the police state one was literally stated it was for you.
That's true. It really doesn't work.
We feel very uncomfortable.
Kai's different because everybody knows when me and Kai hang out, we're going to walk off into the woods.
Okay, well, Kai wants this read to you, so just please wait. The Unknown Soldier is considered his magnum opus, and the novel is also considered to be a part of the national legacy. A fictional account based closely on Lena's own experiences during the war, the novel presented a more realistic outlook on the formerly romanticized image of a novel and obedient Finnish soldier. Lena gave his characters independent and critical thoughts and presented them with human feelings such as fear and rebellion. You know what? Well, I'll say that. No, I'm going to jump in now.
Negative vibes also got me these beats.
Right. That show, The Chosen.
I use them every single day.
Literally every day.
And the kids.
Yep. Vinny's been watching the show called The Chosen, and what they're doing, I haven't watched much of it, just a little bit that I've seen, the way that they present the characters, they're so I feel like it's the most human I've ever seen characters in a movie or a show. I've never seen this before, because I was like some of them, they present them so real, I felt uncomfortable. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so, it didn't feel like I was watching an act.
Peter was trying to be fruitful and multiply, but all the disciples were in his house and shit, so he's trying to get all but then one of the disciples was like, hey Peter, where's the French fries or whatever? He's like, are you serious? I'm trying to. It was good. It's good stuff.
Which they don't usually put stuff like that in those. But anyway, okay, so
I think they're purposely trying to stick it to the Catholics because
probably.
Peter's the only one that's up on his girl like that.
Why? Catholics don't believe that?
I mean, Peter's the first pope and the celibacy and all this. It's impossible to say that Peter was single because, I mean, Paul explicitly says a wife Peter and the other apostles.
Yeah.
So they were married. Most of them were. That was the default setting of these guys, is they were married. So it's just funny to me. But yeah. Anyway, go ahead. The Chosen.
He says. So I would just jump that in there because he was saying that they. Lena made the characters really relatable. The Unknown Soldier chronicles the continuation war between Finland and the Soviet Union during 1941 and 1944 from the viewpoint of ordinary Finnish soldiers of a machine gun company. The first movie adaptation from 1955 is the most successful movie ever in Finland. Since 2000, the Finnish Broadcasting Company has broadcast the film every year on Independence Day of Finland, which is December 6th. So it's a tradition here in many families. Oh, okay. Best regards and peaceful Christmas time to your family.
That is perfect. That is perfect. And everybody knows I love me some war movies. I shouldn't, but I do. Thank you so much, Kai. I really, really appreciate it. It was very, very good to have Amy Lee in the chat for the entire time. Shout out to Amy Lee back in the house. Hey, Metlcat. Shout out to Metlcat, man, for introducing me to this band. Very, very thought-provoking selections this time, Metlcat.
Yeah.
The show went a little bit longer. Some of the reviews went a little bit longer. My bad. But some of the selections here, man. We really, really, really had to dig. I halfway through the song, I was like, "Fuck, man!" if I say what I really want to say about this shit's gonna go on forever, and he's gonna be like, yo, shut the fuck up and just,
I'm
you know
gonna
what I'm
work
saying?
in the morning.
But I was like, oh, like I don't want to do like, I was like, it's like 45 minutes long. But anyway, Metlcat you were a good sport. I appreciate it, man. Just a lot of, I was trying to show some of the diversity in black metal. Yeah, like if you think about that, I already finished your review, but that last song, like Amy said something to the effect of like, you know, Quentin Tarantino, you don't know much about Quentin Tarantino movies, but it's a Quentin Tarantino movie, and like it starts off like dun 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 dun, like that mestizo type, you know, thing, and then it goes to like Japanese, like everybody's dead, bloody, 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 and then it ends with the dun 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 dun. So she called that from the beginning, and the song exactly went that way. It was unbelievable. It was really, really cool. So yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Thank Lindsay Sterling and Sori. Who the hell is Lindsay Sterling? That's that Lindsay person she was talking about. You found her?
What do you mean? I'm the one that, what do you mean I found her?
Well, she messaged
Amy,
me about a
me?
Lindsay something.
No, I was talking to, what happens is confusing because we're all using the same messenger. I was messaging her because I started watching this. It was, you guys, I was having such a journey. So I'm watching this Lindsay Sterling person, and like she had Christmas songs and she just plays it, but she does dubstep. That's that thing where you do with your feet, right? Anyway, she's just doing, it's so beautiful. I was just
no dubstep like, is
that type?
No, that's like a certain type of like techno.
Okay, then I misunderstood what you're saying, Amy. I thought that was the way that she was moving her feet. Apologies. Anyway, like I'm watching her, she's just vibing with her violin so much, and I thought to myself, oh my gosh, if when I was a kid somebody had come to me and shown me her stuff and said like, you can pour your soul into an instrument like this, like try to learn the violin, like, because I find the violin to be so feminine and yet so friggin' powerful. It's just such a great instrument. So she was like playing her heart out, and I was like, I felt I don't usually feel connections to artists, but I felt so connected to her. Like, this is so beautiful. Like, I wish that like I could
Was she the one was that video that you showed?
Yeah.
With Chosen?
Yeah, right. That was one of them. And so I listened to another one, and like I vibed with her again. But then at the end, she was like, oh, she was so cute the way she came on to just say, she was like, you know, like she basically said like that she hit a point in her life where she felt like that nobody could see any beauty in her, and you're sitting there like, what the fuck? I mean, she was able to do this amazing music. And so anyway, she was saying like she's a Christian. So she started like talking a little bit about
she
her.
was the one that did the Chosen, that video that you showed me?
Yeah, but I didn't know she was a Christian. I just thought that she was doing a cover of Oh Holy Night or whatever song it was.
Gotcha.
And I just thought that the Chosen thing at the beginning just happened to be like a fan-made video. I didn't even know until this actual moment that we're talking that she did it for Chosen.
Yeah, that's on the Chosen soundtrack.
Okay, I totally didn't know that. So I didn't know she was a Christian, and then she did her little speech at the end, and like what she said was just so like.
She was on American Idol apparently.
Yes, I think I saw that you could watch them. Well, anyway, so I'm listening to a number of her songs, and then it goes into this My Immortal one and then I was like, is Amy Lee going to be in this? And then all of a sudden, sure enough, yeah, Amy Lee was in it with her. I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah, they did it. Well, I mean, okay, maybe I misunderstood what was going on. Let me look at this again.
Or is it a mashup?
I thought that they were doing it together, but maybe it was a mashup.
Okay.
I don't know now. But that's why I reached out to you, Amy, was because I was like, for sure you must have seen this.
Oh, I thought that was Amy asking that. I was
asking
like,
who? Us?
She brought it. I saw a Lindsay thing in there. I was like, oh.
That was me messaging her about Lindsay. And then you jumped in and you were like, Lindsay Schoolcraft? And I was like, no, Vin. And I responded back to you. But the whole thing was confusing because we're both messaging on the same messaging system. See, so I told you after. I was like, no, Vin, you got that, whatever. But.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's a whole discussion thing that I didn't.
Sterling.
Oh, yeah, that was you. That was. That's funny. Okay, that solves the mystery.
See right here.
It's not My Immortal. It's Love Goes On and On. Yeah,
right here. Lindsay Sterling and Evanescence, My Immortal, with Amy Lee vocal. I think they did it together, right? Or no?
I don't know.
Or did somebody else mash that up? Amy, do you know?
Well,
did she
Amy
do it?
says that.
Oh, Amy already answered?
It's Love Goes On and On. She also has Shatter Me with Lizzie Hale.
Yeah,
from
I
Hales.
see Love Goes On and On. So right, that was the one that I saw. Love Goes On and On. You're right.
I got
So
you.
did they do that together? It looked like they did.
Well, I'm sure if they were in the same venue, they would have done the thing.
No,
together.
they did the song like.
That's what I'm saying. If they were in the same area, the same venue, but all right.
So I'm still confused. Amy, can you just text me? I'm still trying to figure out. This looks like an official video. Yeah, official music video. And they're in it together. So they did a song together.
Yeah, that's the Love Goes On and On one.
Right. That was my thing. I got the song mixed up, the Mina Morta one. But I'm like, they did a song together. That's so cool. Anyway, Amy, I have more questions. Can you just text me? I see that we're holding up the entire chat to what I'm saying right now.
They had concerts together. My Immortal is possible. Yeah, I mean that seems like a logical explanation to me.
My song they did together is awesome. Oh, so you do like the way that they go together. I thought that they did well together, but a little bit I thought it was odd a little. Anyway.
And I am now going to land the plane on that low. Love your neighbor, take care of each other. Vin out.
Sorry.